Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 215. It is Saturday, August 31st. We're back down in the basement. We'll eventually get to a bunch of wrestling talk. We'll talk about Dynamite, NXT, Raw, bit of TNA, bit of Smackdown. We got starting to get a lot of stuff on here.
Yeah, a little too much.
A little bit news, a little bit of trivia. We're going to talk about some non-wrestling related things to start. You can always check the timestamps, jump to whatever you want, because you got to recap us from your busy weekend. If you watched 214, the second half of it was just me, so probably not the best idea, but we still got it done and got it out there because this guy was down in Toronto for 4 days at, what's it called, Fan Expo. So
Yeah,
go ahead. This is, if you're watching on video, some of his purchases are set up on the table.
I think
here.
I matched my total from last year with wrestling figures, which would be 11.
Yeah,
I think.
I saw a lot come through the door, that's for sure.
Yeah, I got the new Walmart bucks, which are nice, like with the crazy looking gear and whatever. I got Ego, which is I wanted to get because then I got.
So this is
Men of
kind
the
of our
Year.
figuring it out, I guess.
I guess, something like
stapled
that.
on the front instead.
I got a McIntyre, which is the one from Clash of the Castle, the first one where he lost to Roman. I got Walmart Derby, which is like brand spanking new, which is great.
Walmart Derby sounds like it should be some like
knockoff skater guy.
Yeah, exactly.
But like it's like a brand new one. I got a Mox and MJF 2-pack from Full Gear. It's pretty new and it's got like some sweet cloth goods. Like MJF's robe isn't rubber, which is refreshing.
Yeah, it's actually really nice. Oh, here we go. It's got to dip down.
I got an old Rollins from like the Messiah days. Just
Right.
because it's one I don't have, which so that felt worthy.
Skinny Rollins.
It's a skinny one, yeah, the skinny legs. And then I got red AJ Chase Nakamura, and my favorite one's probably I got brand spanking new JD McDonough.
Yeah, you were
which we
excited.
had to get.
I wonder,
sure.
you might be outside of him and his immediate family the most excited person to get a JD McDonough figure.
Oh, I was
That's
gonna
a badge of
pre-order
honor.
it. I was gonna pre-order and then I forgot.
Right, so you got that.
Yeah, and then I got a couple Star Wars figures. One of them I got here. And then I did get a new lightsaber, which was Darth Maul's saber from the first movie.
Which was the goal, right?
That was the exact goal, yes. And then I got like various Funko Pops and other stuff.
Lots of
all
stuff.
All that
jazz. Yeah, so sounded like you had a really good time. I'm sure you saw some interesting people. Didn't you meet some YouTuber you were telling your brother?
Oh yeah, we met some like Instagram guys that the Asian guy who's like, I think he's kind of special, but like he bounces like a speaker on his head and like.
Oh yeah, people love him, right? Yeah,
so
that's cool.
We saw him, yeah.
That's nice. And then the other exciting thing that we did was we went down for your birthday. Your aunt got you tickets to Cage the Elephant.
Yeah.
At Bud Soundstage down in Toronto. Concert, awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
Getting to concert.
Yeah.
It's a Tuesday night, so I'm thinking, all right, no problem. We're going to fly down there, not realizing it was also CNE. So like the Canadian National Exhibition or whatever. It's like the biggest fair in the city. So I honestly, for a time, was not sure we were going to be able to find parking at all.
Yeah, luckily it worked out fine, especially because like the openers we weren't really like.
Yeah, we had done our due diligence and researched the openers, and I wasn't really. It was Young the Giant, who honestly, we caught the last 3 or 4 songs. They sounded really good. It's just not my sound.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
It's not like they're not good. It's not for me.
Agreed.
But yeah, we ended up parking very far, having to hike. Worked out on the way out. We were right by the highway, so we just jumped on. Had to do some aggressive driving to get in some spots, but really good concert, yeah?
Yeah, especially even though the guy broke his foot. So
he said at the beginning of the tour, he snapped his ankle or whatever.
Like kind of like an Adam Cole thing, I guess.
So you could see as he was coming on stage, he's on one of those scooters that when I ruptured my Achilles, I regret not having one of those scooters. I suffered on those crutches for months and months and months, and I could have had a scooter. But anyways.
But yeah, he was still giving her.
Yeah, he the energy he can do with one leg propped up on a scooter and he trained the crowd to cheer really loud whenever he stood up off the scooter.
Which is kind of funny.
Yeah, really good show.
Really good, yeah.
Really good show. About an hour and a half, just over, I guess, with encore.
Yeah.
Packed place, which I think we've looked up. It's like I forget, 5,000 people, something in that area.
Yeah, it was something packed, especially getting out. Like it was
getting out was slow.
Yeah,
and it was possible rain, so I packed a couple ponchos. But we were saying that it didn't rain, which was great. But if it had started raining, we were like 2 rows from being under the
almost
amphitheater.
Covered. Yeah,
so like the people we could reach out and touch people who would have been still dry probably, and we would have been wet.
Yeah.
But we escaped. Actually, I would have almost welcomed rain. It was so hot.
Yeah, for the first little bit, it was like
so hot, especially because we had like walked at a pretty brisk pace because we were like,
and then we had like
pretty sure we're not going to miss the opener, but let's hustle just in case. Miss the any of Cage.
And then we also had like hot poutine and like
the
It also didn't
fastest.
help.
I literally had. I don't even know if I'd finished the order and it was already up. Right? They were so
Yeah.
prepared. It was like the
I
second
don't even know how, but like,
they were sliding it to me as I ordered it, basically.
yeah.
But anyways, really good time down there, and I think since you've got to get to driver's ed and to work, we got to get this thing
Yeah.
fired
I
up.
guess school's in, but that's really it.
School is in. We finished 1 week of school. We start a week earlier than everywhere else around here, and then get that week back either end of October, early November. I
It's
forget.
usually like kind of a bit of
Around
both.
Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's usually the Halloween week for
Right.
sure.
So, anyways, we'll shift gears now into what you probably came here for outside of family members that listen to this, and that's where we talk about wrestling. So we'll get into some of the week's wrestling news and rumors. All right, so ratings this week, really quickly. NXT averaged 615,000 viewers, down 3.8%. 0.17 in the key demo, up 6.3. It of note, it was just their No Mercy Go Home show, right? I don't have
Right.
any comparisons or anything. Reasonable numbers. So AEW Dynamite just dipped under 700,000 at 697,000 viewers, down just 1,000 from last week. So basically the same. 0.23 in the key demographic, down 4%. So numbers seem to be holding pretty consistent with the Olympics being done and all the other competition they've been having lately. I only have 2 news items this week.
I had a couple.
Go for it.
First one was that Sid Vicious passed away, or Sid Udy.
Sid Udy? Yeah, so I didn't even know, and then I was watching Raw, and I didn't recap it, so I will mention it here. They did a little tribute to him, right? So
Yeah.
as somebody, my early on in wrestling was being a non-cable haver at home and having a TV tower and living on Lake Ontario, picking up like Rochester and Syracuse and Buffalo stuff. So I was watching WCW when nobody else was, and just I saw Sid back, and just like the physical stature of
I
that
seen
guy.
that clip of him surfacing where his car is crushed. And he's like, Goldberg. And
Yeah,
it's just like the worst thing ever.
And yes, he has also, despite having like, if you could build a wrestler in a lab, like 6'8" or 9" or whatever, and like jacked to the gills, right? And just so intimidating. But yes, provided a lot of sort of funny moments
I have half the brain
along
that
the
you
way.
do.
I have half the brain, yeah, stuff like that. So yeah, I grew up on Sid, sort of thing. He was always that talented big man that just couldn't quite, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Break through.
He's had like a bunch of world title runs, like both
He
major
has,
companies, but
but
like,
they're all
never.
kind of like,
Yeah, right.
yeah. But anyways, yeah. So that was things I have to move into Swerve's new deal with AEW.
I've heard it's like huge.
Some details. Meltzer reporting it will keep him through 2029, September 2029, right? So that's awesome. So 5 years basically, and financially puts him, whatever this means, in striking distance of top stars. So I guess they sort of
I've seen like Okada and Monet.
right. So
comparable.
Okada Monet money, but not quite Reigns, Cody, Orton money.
That's fair.
So
I saw like people in WWE wondering if it's worth it. I'm like, and then apparently that's just because like they wanted to try to re-sign him and bring in Nana.
right.
So like,
and we're gonna talk
someone's
about
a little butthurt.
We're gonna talk about All In. And so my friend, right, who we've started playing pickleball, he kind of texted me out of the blue, and I'm not used to having adult conversations about wrestling with anyone. What was it? Something like Swerve Danielson, and then some like emojis saying it was amazing, right? So, and then he followed up by like, how did WWE drop the ball on this guy? And
they had him as a cruiserweight, then Vince thought he was a tag guy.
And I also think like, and I didn't put this all in the text because it would have been a lot. So Everett, if you're listening now, this is part of my explanation too, is I don't think Vince respected the fact that this guy came up with something like Hit Row that was like hip and cool, and like young people were gravitating towards it, and Vince doesn't understand it, and Vince didn't come up with it.
Yeah.
So he's not behind it.
Well, he thought Top Dollar was a singles guy or something.
Right.
Or like,
well, and that's the thing. It gets to the act gets to main roster, and then it's like, who's
Swerve,
the biggest guy?
Swerve's tagging with Top Dollar, or he's tagging with Ashanti.
Like, look at how big Top Dollar is. We got to push him.
They all get released like weeks later.
And Hit Row, Peak Hit Row was
cool.
So cool.
And I don't even like Top Dollar.
And then I included Vince has racist tendencies at the very
That's
least.
True.
So there's also that.
Yeah, if they had played their cards right, Swerve could easily be doing the same thing.
Oh, he's undeniable. He's and this run in AEW, his championship run, started out a bit whatever for us, but I think he's established.
I think
he'll have multiple runs. Right?
Yeah, and I think he's also got like his iconic feud too.
Yes, exactly. We're always like, they need that like forever opponent that's
Which
just
that's
like,
gonna be
and that's
Hangman.
Hangman for
For
sure.
sure.
Already is, and they're gonna add another chapter, right?
Yeah, and
So
I don't think it's ever gonna like. I mean, they can go till
yeah,
2029.
they're both in their prime or just
I think they're in their prime for sure. Like, because they're
basically.
not as young as like say MJF or like Mariah May or something.
Yeah.
But I think they're reaching prime for sure.
So super happy for Swerve getting big money and lots of term, and happy for me because I watch AEW and enjoy it, and he's going to be there.
Yeah,
So
that's great.
yeah.
Bad news, and I wrote Jericho no want retirement tour.
I mean, okay, so silver
Like,
lining.
he said he doesn't see a retirement tour in his own future. In fact, he says he's still happy to be doing it at a high level and doesn't see the point in announcing some grand farewell.
Okay, second half of that took some shine off, but I was going to say silver lining is he'll just suddenly be gone.
Eh,
No tour,
that's
just
the
like
hope.
he's
But
done.
like,
But then it's like, no, but I'm still awesome and plan. Agree to disagree.
yeah, like I hope he just kind of goes, but
But it doesn't look like it's happening.
doesn't seem likely.
And right now, he should be stepping aside for Big Bill. The way
honestly,
it's
yeah,
honestly,
I feel like it's kind of a UK thing though.
yeah, it could be. I'm
'Cause,
wondering
like,
if the North
I
Americans
feel
will
like they
pick it
tried
up.
to get that effect during the multi-man tag, and it wasn't like there as
But
much.
sometimes once they see it enough, the crowds here will do it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe.
So we'll see. Only other thing I have, um, poor Gable Steveson. You know, such a lovely human being. You can look him up if you don't know what I'm referring to. He was cut from the Buffalo Bills. More failures for him getting cut from things. That's a shame, you know? So he also passed through waivers and was not claimed by any other team and didn't even make a practice squad.
Yeah. Well, I guess he went up in smoke then.
Yeah, so that's all I have for news. Do
Yeah,
you have anything else?
wasn't that his big backup after?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess. Not happening.
WWE's reportedly aiming for Rollins and Punk at Mania next year.
Okay.
Because I feel like that was probably the plan this year, right?
And it makes sense.
Yeah,
And
it does make sense. It's just actually I don't think you need to stretch too far because you can kind of run McIntyre and Punk for
yeah,
most of this year and then
I think
start
so.
up the build for Rollins and Punk at the Rumble or something.
And Rollins just needs some time to get that knee sorted out, I feel like, too. Hopefully
Which I think is why he's out right now.
I think that is.
He could probably feud with Bronson at the end of the year and then
Yeah.
go with Punk.
Yeah, that's they have that foundation already laid down, so they can go back to that for sure, I think.
Yeah, I don't like Punk, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't either. But there's some good stuff created around him and involving him. And if he turned heel, I'd probably be able to get on board because he is a heel.
Yeah, he is.
Anyways, anything else?
The only last one was Collision and Rampage are gonna go head to head with Smackdown next week because of All Out. I think All Out's gonna be on Saturday.
Right. So they're bumping
gonna
everything
go
up.
head to head with which is WWE's final Fox on or Smackdown on Fox because I think SmackDown's going to USA while Raw goes to Netflix.
Oh, right.
So
That's happening soon, eh?
yeah.
Okay.
Netflix I think will be next year, so I think for a time they'll both be on USA, but SmackDown should be on USA like soon, I guess.
Okay, cool. I'm looking forward to canceling my network because I already have Netflix.
I mean, we'll see.
Save some money. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right. So now we'll head into talking about some wrestling. We've got to circle back around to last weekend's pay-per-view, right?
All In.
Yes. So we will now discuss a little bit of AEW All In. All right, so we're going to talk some AEW All In 2024. We're going to sort of do, along with our match ratings, I thought it was kind of fun. We'll do over under accurate, right? So you're going to look at cage match, and it also probably has Meltzer star ratings now.
Yeah.
So we can sort of give what they have, say whether we think the actual score is over that, under that, or if we think it was accurate. So I did not watch the pre-show. You did not either, right?
No, the only thing I watched
Notable?
was the trios entrances for the opener.
And I saw a clip, not the whole thing, of Hater returning, which I was pretty excited to hear about.
Crazy to put that on the pre-show.
I agree, because that's, at least for us, we really like here. That's something I would have loved to see.
And I
Because I
just feel
thought
like, again, it's just notable enough to like
yeah,
put on. I mean,
and there were some good surprises on this show, I thought, and that would have been another one
would have been a good
that
one,
for
yeah,
me would have
for
been
sure.
notable at least.
for sure.
So anyways, we start out, the opener is the London ladder match for the Trios Championships. And that is the Patriarchy, Christian Cage, Killswitch, and Nick Wayne, with Mother Wayne in tow, obviously, versus the Bang Bang Gang, Juice, Austin Gunn, Colton Gunn, House of Black, Malachi Brody, Buddy Matthews, and a sort of cobbled together team of Pac and the Blackpool Combat Club. Claudio.
I was trying to think of
and
another
Wheeler.
word for triangle, but like, because it could be fatality something.
Yeah, sure. I don't know what other. I think triangles are
Because
only option.
the rumor mill said like it would have been Death Triangle
Right.
here,
The
and
plan
they
was
and
Death
they
Triangle. They're probably
and
gone,
they would have
almost
won.
definitely gone.
Yeah,
But anyways, so I'm only going to recap a fraction of this because there's far too much going on here, right? So they did put the entrances for this, as you said, there on the pre-show. So it's kind of an interesting. I guess if you're watching the whole thing, it would kind of been a cool transition. But
and it's like a
for
time
me,
saver.
yeah, for sure. And for me, it was just they're already in the ring. Didn't really bother me. So some people might find it jarring, like show starts and it's like we're ready to
Yeah,
roll. But again, if you're saving me five to
it's a
seven
thing they
minutes,
also do a lot for Rampages. Like they'll put the entrances
yeah,
on YouTube or something for the first match. Like same
yeah,
effect, right?
exactly. So I don't think that's a bad idea
No,
actually.
I don't hate it. Like I would rather see them, but I don't care a ton.
So Brody King hits his crossbody to somebody in a chair immediately. I didn't make a note of who he hit. Pac gets a nice reaction. He hits a sky twister to the floor. Remember that? Um, the Guns for some reason are doing Dudley Boy stuff.
Yeah, that was odd.
Like they did the what's up, the what's headbutt, right? And then they were calling for tables. I don't really know what that was in reference to, but anyways, Christian finally heads to the ring, right? He was up on the stage, or he wasn't there.
Yeah, he like ran off right at the beginning of the
Right.
match. Of
Brody
course.
wipes out everyone with a dive. Everybody eventually beats on Christian as Mother Wayne climbs the ladder. The Guns stop her from climbing. Luchasaurus choke slams the Guns and a bunch of others in succession, including Malachi Black onto a mini ladder in the corner. That's one thing, man. These ladders, a lot of them were really small.
Malachi had like an actual mini one, which I've seen used in some matches, I guess, just for like ease of use, probably. But like even the larger ones, some of them are small.
It was like some of them looked slightly larger than like the WLC.
But then wasn't one of them so big it was like hitting the belts?
It's gonna come up with the one ladder. I think it was Juice or someone finally gets a like full size, and it's so big that it's scraping the titles.
Yeah,
So we get Wayne's World to Brody King off the apron through a table.
that was pretty cool.
Really well done. The
The
crowd,
tables are weird too.
yes,
They looked weird.
They looked really flimsy.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
looked like boards on legs.
Like if you just bought plywood and then bought the hardwood
And
separate, or the hardware,
just
and
like
bolted it
stapled
on.
them, yeah, something like
Basically,
yeah.
it could be exactly that. To be honest, the crowd is liking the Brody King barking stuff. Like they get into that or whatever it is. So Juice ends up taking a swing from Claudio. We had a successful red arrow to Juice, which was nice to see.
Black
Uh,
Arrow.
yeah, sorry. King and Claudio climb the ladder on each side with a gun on their backs, right? And eventually they both fall back through some tables. You had Nick Wayne diving to the floor, hitting a destroyer to Black through a table.
That was pretty sweet.
Black didn't do much other than take some, like
Nick Wayne did some.
he
stuff,
did.
though.
And on the flip side, I don't feel like Malachi really did a lot,
No,
to be honest.
I don't
But
think so.
Juice finally gets a tall enough ladder. There it is, maybe too tall. It's hitting the belts. He gets tipped from pretty high up and crotched, right?
That,
Remember-
I was like,
Yeah,
that's gotta
it's
hurt.
hard for that not to hurt, the distance he took it and the way he took it.
Yeah,
We get a kill switch, the move, not the person, to Pack onto a chair.
that's why I just call him Luchasaurus. Although that will be
I do too,
That
and-
will be a point of contention later.
My notes have a lot of Luchasaurus peppered in here. Christian gets something and sprays Yuta in the face with it.
I think it's the spray that Mother Wayne used when they won the belt.
I think she gave it to him.
Yeah,
So that makes sense. Juice blocks Mother Wayne spraying him with a chair, right? And then he teases like hitting a move to her, but Kill Switch knocks Juice off the apron and onto a table. We get loud Luchasaurus chants at this point. Christian spears Buddy Matthews off a ladder and through a table that was set up in the corner. And then Kill Switch helps Christian climb the ladder, right? Pac climbs the other side. You're wondering if things with Kill Switch and Christian are going to come to a head or what's going to happen here. So Pac kicks Christian down and just kind of grabs the title to win in 19 minutes. So
very like probably the least. Like I wouldn't have picked them.
right, this team that's never done anything together. I do think Pac fits the Blackpool.
I don't know.
You're not sure, eh?
He does and he doesn't.
And
he's
go
quite-
ahead, elaborate.
He's quite literally from not Blackpool, but like
Okay.
adjacent, and like he is kind of like he does walk the line of heel and face like they do. But I don't know, something about his style to me doesn't scream Blackpool to me.
I
Just-
think the viciousness and stuff does.
Yeah.
Maybe the high flying.
In ring style, no, and like yeah, just because like they're just like kind of this bully faction, or like they're
Yeah.
like, they're like a fight club, and to me like Pac isn't like quite like that, even though he is like
Okay.
vicious and like it's just Pac doesn't perfectly fit that to me.
It feels like he's the Mox replacement based on what we're going to get on Wednesday.
He could be, and it could just be this is the Death Triangle substitute as well.
They're kind of all substituting for somebody else.
Yeah, it's like
Interesting.
Maybe we should call them Black Triangle or something.
Right.
Like I
We'll workshop some things.
yeah, because it's something weird in between.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. Car crash of a match. I thought logical choice for an
Good
opener.
start, yeah, good
Got
start.
the crowd fired up. Right. I found the finish a little anticlimactic.
Little
Like he
bit.
just kind of walked up and grabbed it.
I feel like they also should have teased more with Christian and Killswitch.
Agree. Definitely a spot fest, but a fun one. Not an epic like all-time ladder match or anything, but I thought like
good.
high octane start to the show.
Meltzer 4.5
Whoa, under
for sure.
And what about cage match?
Cage match is 7.13.
Okay, so I went 3.25, which would be still a bit below that.
Yeah,
I thought it was fun,
I'd
right?
say under, yeah, but Meltzer's
loving that, eh? Wow. So maybe it's interesting. Okay. Then we get the AEW Women's Championship. It's Timeless Toni Storm with Luther there taking on Mariah May. And the crowd does their job, right? And they don't cheer Mariah May.
They did not.
They booed her despite her being
I
from
think
there.
Storm's character is also over enough to warrant that, like to kind of overpower that.
And they just hopefully really want to support May, and that's the way you're supposed to do it, right? She's a heel. Don't cheer for her. Even though I cheer for heels at indie shows and stuff, I cheer for who I like. But do what you want. But at the end of the day, my thing is you paid for your ticket. You do what you want as long as you're not hurting anybody.
Agreed.
So we get a stare down to start. Then they start brawling. And I don't know what he did, but I say, why do I have to listen to Nigel all night? He's annoying me already. Don't know specifically, just generally. But we get him out of the booth at least a little bit later, so that's nice.
I don't know which is worse.
Early shotgun dropkick by May that we always think looks good, gives her the advantage, and we see Mina Shirakawa's watching from the stands, sitting with it was Rachel Ellering, I think, right?
I did, yeah, I did see her.
May hits some chops, but they just fire up Toni Storm. She hits a DDT to shift the momentum in the match. Storm misses a hip attack, slips through the ropes onto the apron. May hits a power bomb off the apron onto the floor. Pretty nice. Nigel says something stupid about polio, and all Excalibur could do is say okay. I don't know what that was in the moment either.
I don't know.
Stratisfaction by May, then a butterfly submission. May dominates as the crowd starts chanting for Toni Storm. Fez pressed by Storm, but a Saito suplex by May. Doomsday.
No.
He even does that in real time. I'll call it a Doomsday while we're watching, and he still no. May with a jumping knee strike off the apron to Storm on the floor. May goes over, kisses Nigel on the head, and then takes out Luther with a drop kick. And then, I forgot, didn't mention that Mariah May's mother is shown at ringside.
And she just slaps her own mother in the face.
And she slaps her.
Oh, absolutely. I think
thought
at
it was
first
fantastic.
I misread it as it being Storm's mother.
Right.
At first it honestly
Her
didn't
own
even
mother.
register with me that it's her own mom.
Awesome.
For absolutely no reason.
Again, just Mariah May doing everything right.
It feels like an MJF move, and I mean that in a good way, because like MJF would like his own. Remember the shtick was his own parents hate him too.
Ultra mega heel stuff.
Yeah, so I think it works.
Storm takes over the match, rams May's head into the steps, hits a pile driver onto the steps before going over to comfort May's mother in sort of a role reversal. May is now bleeding from her forehead. We get a missile drop kick.
Makes more sense than Danielson.
We'll get to that for sure. Missile drop kick by May gives her control. She hits a hip attack, then another and another, but the fourth one is cut off by a Storm lariat and a German suplex. Storm hip attack, Storm 0 for a really nice near fall. May is defiant, gives Storm the finger. Strike exchange, low blow for each. Headbutt, both are down as the crowd just gets a minute here to sort of appreciate these two as they're both on the mat. And then a sudden mayday for a near fall. May goes to grab the belt, but Luther takes it away, gives her the finger. May grabs a shoe instead, but Storm takes that away. Teases using it herself, but doesn't. 2 May running knees, a kiss to the forehead, and a Storm 0. Mariah May wins the
with her own
AEW
move.
Women's Championship after 15 minutes. I thought this was a really good women's match.
I thought it was good.
Back and forth, good near falls, great use of Mariah May's mother. Really like the blood as well. As sort of a callback to Toni Storm bleeding all over from the shoe attack, obviously. May just continues to impress me. They need to run with her as champion. Like every step she's taken has been correct so far. Right?
Absolutely. And it's been like less than a year.
Right. So let's see what we can do with this. And now either Storm can move on to something from this gimmick separately, or if you want to keep her in this, just not in the title picture for a
Yeah.
while, right? Right result. So what are your thoughts? And then if you want to give the ratings.
I thought it was pretty good. It benefits from actually having like a really good story
Yes,
going
agreed.
in, which not always the case in the women's matches. And like both of them are still really good in ring, regardless of how I feel about Storm's character. So I liked it. May was playing the heel up perfectly, and I was surprised she won with Storm's move. But
Yeah.
that was cool. So
Yes.
good for her. Absolutely the right result too.
Because it's like it's that callback to May's been basically being her for a while,
Yeah.
right? And now I'm winning with your move too.
Meltzer gives it 3 3/4, and it was 8.1 on Cage Match.
So I'm going under cage match, and I'm accurate. I went 3 3/4, which would be 7.5.
I'd go 3.5.
I quite liked it. I thought it was not quite a 4-star match, but and again, I think the story and stuff added to it for me. So I went 3 3/4.
I'm not as big on Storm.
What we definitely won't have at 3 3/4 was next, and that's the FTW Championship.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho with Big Bill and the Bad Apple. I don't even like saying that. It's Brian
hate
Keith
seeing that.
taking on Hook with his eye patch on for no reason.
It was eye tape this time.
Sorry, his eye taped for no reason, as we will learn, which was one of the things I'm like. Anyways, we'll get
It's kind
there.
of cool. They mimicked the Taz music heart monitor before they played his music.
Right. Oh yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
And then on the flip side, as
I almost
go ahead,
forgot.
you go ahead. I'll sip coffee before it gets cold.
Fozzy got their big break, I guess. I don't know.
And they sounded
Almost worse than last year.
really, really bad.
Arguably worse than last year. I don't even know.
To be fair, I find even like their studio polish stuff to sound bad. So
I'm gonna say it was worse than last year because I feel like at least everyone likes Judas more than this song.
right,
So I'm gonna argue this is
definitely not as catchy.
worse than last. Oh, I just like it was so. And Jericho's like tearaway pants were coming apart as he was walking down the ramp.
I have Jericho sings and it is not good. ... Like really not good.
It's not bad.
No.
It's horrible. I legitimately preferred Swerve's one, which was like them singing over. Like they didn't even take out the vocals, so it was kind of like they were singing on live mics, but you could also hear the recorded vocals on Swerve's.
Yes,
But I still prefer that.
agree. So this, if I were in person, would be my bathroom break of a match. I'm pretty sure. I'm
gonna grab a charger because
I
not here.
I don't think this card needed this at all, to be honest.
I'll see if I
So
can figure this out.
Are you-
I need my charger now.
Like,
I remember
immediately?
It's not here. It's actually wait, hold on. Battery saver 19. Okay, actually we'll be able to see it.
I think you'll get through
We'll
it.
be fine.
yeah, and then
If
no
it
one will
dies,
see
then
you
whatever.
disappear and magically be back. Sorry, where was I? Hook still only has use of one eye to start, as we said. Jericho is wearing orange to spite Taz, I have a feeling. So Bill and Keith attack Hook right away because it's all legal. It's FTW rules, right?
Which makes Hook look like a dumbass because he's here by himself.
And you went to get food since you didn't have a lot of care about this. I don't know if you remember
don't
that.
think-
I make notes of what you do.
I mean, I just don't think I care about. I think that's a thing with every Jericho match on the.
and I
PLA
thought
or
Hook looked
pay-per-view.
stupid for not bringing anyone with him.
Yeah, like.
Right? What do you think's going to happen here?
And isn't he supposed to like know these rules for sure since it's his dad's
Right.
belt and he's also had the title for like a million days?
You would think. One would think. So once Hook gets rid of the other two, he hits a couple suplexes to Jericho. Lion Salt from Jericho lands kind of low. Pool cues and cricket balls introduced by Jericho.
I do kind of enjoy that thing. Like you bring out like the local sport and you like
Yes.
because he's had like the hockey pucks
Yes.
and the.
And I
other
wouldn't have
stuff.
known they were cricket balls if they didn't tell me, to be
I
honest.
thought they were like they honestly look like pool balls.
And because they
for
put out a
eight
pool
ball.
cue, I thought that at first. And then
Yeah.
they looked big, actually. So Hook hits a suplex to Jericho. I think it was supposed to hit one of the cricket balls, but I don't think
not
they
really.
actually
I think
did.
they were just rolling around too much.
And I'm kind of glad because, man, that seems like it would hurt.
That's what I'm saying. Like that was what that like it was like that was what I was saying with the hockey pucks. Or there was something else too. I don't remember. It
There
was,
was. What was it?
Not baseballs, but like it was something like this.
Definitely hockey pucks is right.
Hockey pucks was the in Canada,
Right, of course, because hockey.
with Shibata, but like yeah, it
And
was
maple syrup, they poured on him or something, probably.
or they threw a beaver at him or
That's
something.
right.
Like start beating him with moose antlers. I can't think of it now.
Hook gets a cricket bat. So this is where you go. Put it in the comments if you remember what
Will
the other thing
Washington.
was. Will Washington.
Oh,
Hit us
I'm gonna
up.
actually see if I can find it in the back catalog.
Cricket bat. He hits all three of the learning tree with it, and then hits and throws cricket balls at Jericho. Which I was like, some of those could go flying into the crowd. You got to keep your head up, right?
Yeah.
Keith hits Hook with a trash can lid. Walls of Jericho. Hook escapes, applies his own. Big Bill gets involved yet again. Bill sets up a table as Keith works over Hook on the floor. Barbed wire board is added to the table. Bill tries to chokeslam Hook onto it. but Hook escapes. Hook is now blind completely and swinging wildly. Takes a trash can to the head from Jericho.
Another got poked in his good eye.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Another hook soup. Thank you for adding that color. That's what I need. Another hook suplex, and he removes the eye tape and says, like he sort of mouths the word "I can see." So this begs the question: what
was it really worth getting one? Like,
what was the
Jericho?
end game?
Was it really worth like? Because it's not like Jericho was going after the eyes. So it's not like this is like a big, you know.
So it just to be like you're stupid because you came out here with no backup in this match, and I don't, I don't understand how coming out with your eye taped. Like, is it because Jericho's supposed to like underestimate? I guess that's all there
like,
is.
He's gonna mess with you because he's like, oh, you have one eye, and
right?
I get.
Anyways, I saw no point to it. And Hook ducks. Jericho hits Bill with a pool cue. Bill falls through a table. Keith hits Hook and with a belt buckle for a near fall. Hook applies the red drum to Jericho as Keith gets on the apron again. Taz at this point gets up from commentary, puts Keith in a red drum of his own.
Did not look great.
It didn't. As Jericho taps out after almost 11 minutes of this match. Any thoughts? You want to go first?
Like, it was fine. It really didn't. I really didn't want it here.
No, and it
kind of felt like getting Fozzy there thing, and then Jericho's here.
So many moving parts, right? Like people running in, weapons.
Too many moving parts, and like I feel like with these FTW matches, more so when it's Jericho, there's not enough fun plunder for it to be enjoyable. Okay, so this Suzuki match from a few weeks ago, I'm just trying to see if there was anything there. No, oh wait, no, that was the match where they just chopped for the whole time. Never mind.
And just again, like so much going on in this.
The Samoa Joe match has to have something.
Is this what Jericho needs to have decent matches? Like all of this other stuff because he's not.
I don't even know if it was decent because it was just like, I mean, I guess that's the nicest thing I could say. But.
So I thought it was okay, nothing special. And now because if this is the blow off of this feud, I start to worry, like honestly, about who Jericho is getting into an angle with next, and I really hope it's not
literally
somebody
what we
I
said.
enjoy.
Hook is not. I wouldn't say he's literally no better off. Like This did absolutely nothing for him except take up most of his year.
And they have again, I think they have an opportunity to do something with Bill, but I'm not sure they will. And so
I don't know how much you can do.
All we know is Jericho, to use a double negative, can't not be
horseshoes.
Oh right,
horseshoes.
We know Jericho can't not be on TV every week. So now it's like, oh no, who's he gonna drag down now? He's gonna attach the anchor to somebody else.
It's the Jericho anchor, not the Vortex.
Yes,
and Hook was hot at the beginning of the year because that match with Joe did a lot for him.
Yeah.
And then it's like they just did everything in their power to take that away.
I don't even know if calling it Jericho Vortex as they do is complimentary either.
Because it does.
It's like you get pulled in and you can't escape, right? And it's kind of like, yeah, that is it. Sorry, what were the ratings for this one?
It was 3 stars for Meltzer, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and 4.3 for.
4.3. Sorry, they're on 2 different scales. One's out of 5, one's out of 10. So I went I agreed with Meltzer. I went 3, but I would have no problem if you went below that.
2 and.
I thought you might.
Aha.
Just doesn't belong on a show of this magnitude.
The biggest show, yeah.
There's already 9 matches. Is 8 really any different? Can we save 11 minutes?
Yeah, and that reminds me, the stage is nice and big this time.
Huge, yeah. So then we move into the AEW Tag Team Championships. It's the Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas, taking on FTR, Dax and Cash and the Acclaimed, Caster and Bowens. Billy Gunn is there as well. It is standard rules, not a tornado, unfortunately, right? Which I think might have added something to this.
Yeah.
But to be fair, the referee loses all control.
I even just like it when there's 3 guys in. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That makes more sense. I don't think that's how they're running it.
No, it's not. But again, it breaks down so much. It's almost like that. This does not feel like a fresh matchup at all. Again, there's so much talent on this roster, and we're running back the only 3 teams. It does feel
a little fresher just because it's all 3 of them at least.
I guess.
But I guess we'll be getting.
But it's like, here's the only 3 teams we care about for 2 years. Let's just put them in a new combination.
I guess we'll have a new team.
Yes, right. Jack finds the contrast of the Acclaimed gear notable.
Well, don't know what he meant. Bowens is like all white and pink, and Caster's was like noticeably largely black.
And we've been saying, I feel like it's coming for him, right?
So it's worth noting, I think,
because he's touting himself as the greatest wrestler and sort of not dismissing, but like stepping towards that.
King or something, right? For Bowens. And someone pointed out the same thing for the New Day in their triple threat matches this week. Like Kofi's gear is all colorful, and Woods had like a black and silver gear.
There was a segment where I'll talk about it. I think where he comments on the just
Yeah.
like we can maturely talk about you switching gear without telling me or whatever it was.
Yeah. So I do think it was worth noting here for
Yeah, I
sure.
think it's a breadcrumb, as we would say on FNS here, right?
Could
It's one
be.
of our things. The other two teams send the Bucks to the floor right away so they can brawl themselves. Neckbreaker backstabber combo by Cash. To Cash, sorry, by the Acclaimed. Bucks are in control with tandem moves to Cash and Caster. Cash controlled by the Bucks, and Dax gets pulled off the apron, so Bowens blind tags himself in and takes over the match, kind of like the Bowens hot tag spot. That's always pretty nice, right? Acclaim stack the Bucks up and hit the Scissor Me Timbers to both. Dax in with multiple Germans to Bowens, Caster, and both Bucks at the same time. Powerplex with help from Bowens, but knees up by Matt. Caster knees up on a Nick 450. This is where I'm struggling to keep up with things.
It was
as
like a
an
bunch of
Otaker.
like attempted dives, knees up, and then like that guy would like get knees up on the
Yeah,
next dive.
there
And,
you
like,
go.
It was just kind of like a sequence of that.
Nick gets shoved off the ropes into a moonsault, and FTR hit the shatter machine, but the referee gets pulled out of the ring. Caster and Matt combined for an EVP trigger to Dax, so it's kind of like you're trying to work with whoever happens to be there.
It reminds me
Which
of
is interesting.
same guy as Revival, DIY, and AOP, because that from Takeover Orlando, I think 2017.
Okay. Encyclopedia.
I'm my own Will Washington, okay?
You are.
And it was like, because obviously there's the lengthy history of DIY and FTR, and then so they're working together to take out like Monsters AOP, right?
Yes.
And I think that was, I want to say it was after AOP had beaten DIY for the titles, but obviously before Takeover Chicago, because that's when Ciampa turned on him.
Yeah. And before they joined with Cross and became what they are today.
Yeah, NXT AOP was decent.
And at least I was like, how many years ago did you say that was?
That would have been 2017, but they debuted in like 2016.
And so, like, if you told me AOP 7 years from then, I'd be like, oh, they should be really good and be monsters by then. And
they still
regressed, if not the same at best.
They either, it's like the Jericho effect. They either got worse or stayed the same.
Yeah. Then we get Caster and Cash working together to hit a shatter machine to Matt.
Sorry. Also worth noting that faction is they have two managers and neither of them ever talk.
Good point.
So.
Oh yeah, what's his face? Never.
Paul Ellering doesn't do crap.
No, he doesn't. Bucks with low blows to the Acclaim. They pump up their shoes. Billy Gunn stops a Matt belt shot and hits a famouser to Matt on top of the belt. Arrival and a mic drop for a near fall. But then we do get a belt shot, near fall to Dax, and then an EVP trigger, and it's over. The Bucks retaining 13 minutes. Highlight of this for me comes afterward. Grizzled Young Veterans show up and get face-to-face with the Bucks before attacking FTR and taking out Cash with a pretty nice looking high-low or whatever.
I hope that's not the finisher because I like Ticket to Mayhem.
I do too, but I thought the high-low looked good as well.
I feel like that's like a tag team finisher 101 kind of deal.
Yeah, your thoughts on this?
I thought it was pretty good. Like I said, the three-way adds a different dynamic to what would be an ordinary match.
Yeah.
Either way, because we've seen Bucks Acclaimed, we've seen FTR Bucks plenty. I don't think we saw FTR Acclaimed just because we didn't watch Collision.
I don't feel like we did, but who knows?
But it also doesn't feel like something I like overly need to see. So I do like that we had the three-way dynamic because that allowed for a lot more spots like the dive sequences, the half and half tag finishers, with like the different mixes.
Yeah, that was kind of
cool
because you have to grab who's there because it's chaos.
I did like it wasn't like my favorite match on the show, but I thought it was pretty good and like I said, it at least felt kind of warranted on the show. Like the three biggest teams at least, and it's like I said, they did the work to like at least make it different.
Yes,
even though it wasn't the most exciting match, and I feel like the result was pretty expected.
Yeah, I thought the action was good, especially second half, but the story coming in I didn't think was super strong, so it didn't feel that important to me. It's just like we're just passing these titles around these teams, right? So it's kind of where I'm locked in.
Yeah.
A match to kind of, at the end of the day, we're maintaining the status quo, and it involved teams we've seen a bunch already. But it was fun enough.
It was fun.
Not an elite FTR Bucks match, but and again, they should have just gone Tornado because their things broke down so many times, and that's people's complaints. One of people's complaints about, and maybe it has merit. It doesn't bother me, as I've always said, but like, no, the refs lose control, blah blah blah. Although I forget what it was where we're like, man, does Aubrey look stupid this week?
Oh, I'll remember. Don't worry.
We'll get there. So what were the ratings for this for our over under accurate?
Meltzer, no. 4.25. Under for sure. 6.3. 1 for cage match.
I would say almost accurate. I went 3.25, which would be,
I was thinking the same, yeah.
Which would be 6.5.
It was pretty good.
3.25 to me is like, yeah, it's good, but not like nothing special, and that's where I felt. Then we move into the Casino Gauntlet match where I think things kind of picked up again for me
This
here.
was probably one of my preferred matches, honestly.
I think they're starting to figure out this formula as one of their signature matches.
I really enjoy it. Yeah, because like I feel like the Casino Battle Royal was decent, but like the suits and whatever, it was like, eh.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the Casino ladder match, which is like this,
Yeah.
but a ladder match. That I would
But we
really
get a
like.
lot of ladder matches. I
Yeah,
feel
but
like.
I do kind of like the combination of a Royal Rumble and a ladder match.
True.
That's kind of cool to me. But I do think they're slowly starting to figure this one out as like the best one. Because I think there was the one that Ospreay won at Daly's Place, right? Which got him the shot against Strong. That one was really good. Then I think the best one so far was the pre-Forbidden Door one. Because that one had like Hechicero and like Umino. That one was really good. And so, yeah, I think they're definitely starting to figure out this. Even though the sudden death thing is a joke and, it can end anytime. But like, jokes aside, I do think they started to figure out these kind of matches working.
And I think that sudden death allows them. So, like, in this one, we got more participants than we've gotten before, I feel
because,
like.
yeah, this is the first pay-per-view one, so it actually, like, it was almost 26 minutes.
And it also leaves the door open for something cool, like, sure, it's a long match, but because they've also now set the precedent of commentary said, like, the intervals are, like, pretty random. It's kind of like there's no set whatever.
It's almost like a nod to the fact that Royal Rumble intervals aren't always accurate. You know what I mean? Like, it's like they're kind of, like, giving themselves that leeway.
It gives me Lucha Underground vibes where, what was the evil guy's, the owner's name? Oh my God. Dario Cueto? I think so.
Cueto, because it was Matanza Cueto, right?
And that, like, it gives me the vibes of he'd be there just deciding, just like, okay, it's somebody that I want to get killed. The next guy's going in like two seconds. Yeah. Whereas, so it opens up the possibility where you could only have like 3 or 4 guys, but they wrestle a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
and you can kind of do what you want with this. And then it also kind of allows like, because that 3-way on Dynamite was for the first spot, which like if that's a Royal Rumble, that's a death sentence. But for here, it's like
it gets you in.
It's kind of what you want.
Because you may not get in if you're one of the
Which was obviously that was Cassidy, right? So that it kind of benefits him.
That's the only spot that guarantees you'll be in there when the pinfall
that
occurs.
And number 2, I guess.
But
like,
right? So that's kind of cool.
Either or. So
anyways, as you said, we know Cassidy's the first entrant and Okada is the second. So that's kind of cool. Okada wants a hug
because I guess Cassidy was like honorary Chaos for a while. It's like
right.
Remember Chaos and Best Friends were kind of like it was adjacent for a while.
That's right. So Orange obliges, and then you see the camera angle is on like Okada's face over Cassidy's.
He's like smiling,
shoulder,
crying, and he just goes straight face. So classic Okada, and I love it.
And then he attacks, right? So we get a hands in pockets to block a Rainmaker, right? Which was kind of funny. And then we get a little bit of Cassidy's hands in pockets offense that we're used to seeing. Flapjack to Cassidy as Nigel McGuinness enters third. He used to be awesome, and it gets him off commentary, and he got a really great reaction. Obviously, in a nutshell,
gonna say it now, I thought it was okay, but not amazing.
I thought physically looked awesome, great shape.
Great shape. A little slow in the ring, for sure,
no
which
doubt.
is understandable.
And it's not just because I can't stand him on commentary.
I know, I thought so too, and I like
rusty.
He was fine.
Yep. Nice to see him though. Nigel with dodges and a slap to Okada. Commentary speculate that Nigel is hoping to get at Danielson by winning this match.
Which is kind of a nice touch.
I think that's smart, right? I like that too.
And kayfabe justifies his spot here.
Right. O'Reilly's next. And this is where I have Nigel does not look great, unfortunately. Strikes look slow and weak.
Yeah.
High-low to Okada from O'Reilly and Orange. Zack Sabre Jr. is a nice surprise.
That was a nice pop, hometown boy, and fresh off the G1.
And him and Nigel sort of face off, and the crowd is very hyped by this interaction.
Poor Nigel, though, because like he's going out here slow, and you bring in O'Reilly and Sabre.
It's tough.
Sabre, of all people.
So they go back and forth with some pinning predicaments. Okada hits a neckbreaker and an elbow drop to Sabre before flipping off the crowd. Sabre puts Okada and O'Reilly in simultaneous submissions as Roderick Strong is the next one to come in. Strong dominates, yanks Cassidy's foot, catches him, and hits his backbreaker. Oh, remember he pulled his foot into, and I like that. It looked cool. Commentary notice how quick the intervals are here, right? They're sort of saying like setting you up for could be 5 minutes, could be 20 seconds. Like I don't know whose finger's on the button in that case, but it's either the Elite or Tony Khan, I guess.
The Elite you could do a Dario Cueto kind of thing at some point with the Elite running this, right?
For sure. Mark Briscoe's next to enter. The conglomeration now have 3 people in the match, I think, at this point. O'Reilly ankle lock gets countered so
should have had
smoothly.
Matt Taven next, just to like even it out.
No, thank you. Remember there's an O'Reilly ankle lock, and however Sabre countered out of it was so smooth.
So he had it, and then he had put his own foot down.
And
it
looked
in a
so
headlock.
good.
Yeah, he's done it before, but like
lots of redneck kung fu from Briscoe after that. He dives off a chair to take out Nigel and Roddy as Hangman enters next, looking angry.
Angry man.
Page dominates Briscoe and O'Reilly right away. He catches Cassidy coming off the rope for a fall-away slam. Power bombs Roderick Strong on the apron and hits a dead eye to Cassidy. So it's just
He's
Page
just
hitting
killing
high
everybody.
impact stuff to everybody. Jack is thrilled by the next entrant because it's...
Who
would you be? Jack is annoyed, it says in my notes.
was it? Jarrett.
It was Jarrett.
It was Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett's next. Page and Jarrett face off. No one seems to care. So not just us. I kind of picked up on the crowd. Was like, okay, sure. Jarrett's devastating. I'm assuming there's sarcasm here. Reading my own notes. Jarrett's devastating right hand take out everyone as Taz yells how great Jarrett's strikes have always been.
No,
Is that canon?
I don't
He's
think
the
so.
Undertaker.
Will Washington. Let's get on that.
Page powerbombs Jarrett over the ropes onto the rest. He goozles Karen, and Ricochet enters next. So another really good surprise, and that's part of what made this match fun for me. Like getting Nigel, getting Sabre, getting Ricochet, right? Cool.
Sure.
Ricochet's too quick for Page. Then O'Reilly, we get a shooting star to the floor. Christian is next, and he's already limping from previous match, right? High cross from Ricochet to him. Buckshot to Ricochet, but Okada calmly just kind of stops the pinfall attempt. Okada drop kick to Page. Jarrett couldn't go without a guitar shot, so he gets one on Page after Karen is sort of holding Page's ankle, I think it was. Rainmaker to Jarrett, orange punch to Okada, and a heartache to Cassidy. Nigel does get his Tower of London to O'Reilly off of Briscoe's shoulders, though, instead of the corner ropes, right? Christian spears Nigel. Luchasaurus enters next.
I thought that was a good surprise because he, not kill switch, Luchasaurus.
Correct.
He comes out of Luchasaurus, and I almost didn't pick up on the Jurassic Express theme song too.
Oh, it was, eh?
Yeah.
And
it was Luchasaurus.
He kind of teases chokeslamming Christian. The crowd gets excited.
Like Christian was berating him after the ladder match, I'm pretty sure.
Yes,
so
he was.
I really enjoyed this part.
But he ends up hitting O'Reilly with it instead. And then he sort of pulls Christian on top for the pinfall and the victory. So
very interesting.
I really enjoyed the match. And
I thought it was really fun.
My favorite match to this point.
For sure.
Like Nigel, Sabre, Ricochet, cool surprises.
I'd even argue Luchasaurus has a good surprise too.
Action was really good. The little tease of that. I don't love Christian winning. We've talked about this, but go ahead.
But I'm saying it's not going to matter.
Agree.
Because I don't want Christian as world champion. As much as I love him dearly, I don't.
He was our ideal mid-card heel champion.
And I think that's where he belongs.
Agree.
And they did this before at World's End when Luchasaurus won the Battle Royal and gave up his title shot to Christian after he lost to Edge, right? And I feel like we'll see something. So I think it's again a Money in the Bank situation with this contract, right?
Yes.
Because that's literally what they did last time, and they did, I think, expressly say at any time.
I think so.
I'm of the opinion because right now we have Darby Allin already has his title shot, so that's obviously next. So I don't think this is going to be like Christian's next in line. I think it's more of a whenever he wants kind of thing. Like, and he could theoretically cash in after Danielson and Perry.
And he's a great heel to have in that role.
Exactly.
But he's not winning.
I think now we start to pick up the Luchasaurus Christian storyline again. And this time,
this was your idea, and I agree.
Instead of giving up the title shot to Christian, he's going to screw Christian's title shot.
Beautiful.
And we're going to negate this contract and not have Christian as world champion.
Right.
Because also, if he cashes in on Danielson, technically that's retiring Danielson if he wins, which I don't think will happen.
So I like that, and I think that's
I feel that's what has to happen because this is a big tease. It's probably the biggest tease we've had in a while. Because I think early in the year we kind of had the Luchasaurus teasing, and then it's died down for a while. But this was like he came out as Luchasaurus. He came out to Luchasaurus music.
Yes.
But then he kind of went back on it.
It's the most conflicted he's appeared in a while,
right?
For sure.
So I feel like it's gonna come to a head with this contract. I feel like this is more of a storyline piece than anything.
Yeah.
Because other than that, I agree. I don't know why you have Christian win this.
Right.
So I feel like it has to go in that direction.
I thought Hangman Page looked super intense.
Hangman was great.
This got 12 entrants and 26 minutes, and I was thoroughly entertained. A bit surprised by the winner, but
I think it
doesn't really bother me too much. To nitpick a little, there was a lot of guys waiting on the floor while other people did stuff.
Yeah, and I didn't love
But that's also justifiable by I'm conserving energy, but paying attention, and I can break up a pinfall.
Yeah, it kind of works in this kind of match,
right? It's not. It kind of is part of the strategy. I'm going to pay attention, but I don't need to exert myself.
Yeah, for sure.
So I get that. The ratings by people.
Meltzer gave it 4.5. And
under
8.53 for.
I'm under both. I went match. 4 stars though.
I give it 4. It was fun, and
We're stingy,
With
though.
pay-per-view time, it was a lot better because I feel like with TV, they kind of keep it shorter. Now I don't know because I never time checked any of the Dynamite ones.
No.
But this was really good.
I quite enjoyed it myself, too. Then things just keep getting better, I thought. We get the AEW American Championship. It's MJF in full, like, Apollo Creed or whatever, like, as you would expect, right?
Yeah.
And Will Ospreay comes out with a...
Big time Assassin's Creed entrance.
Right, which I'm not a video game person, but I thought it was cool.
It was a cool big spectacle.
Yeah,
Felt
exactly.
like Mania-esque to do.
And there was breakdancers and stuff too, right?
Yeah, something like that. And I know he's big into those games. I think it also tied into like promoting a new one. So
yeah,
2 birds, 1 stone.
I thought it was well done, and it's not even stuff that I care about
and
at
then
all.
in his theme song, the crowd chanting Osprey on this magnitude was awesome.
Yeah, the crowd is like super behind Osprey. Of course, he hits a Sasuke special early, teases a hidden blade right away, basically, right? MJF with eye gouges to slow down Osprey finally. Running boot to Osprey in a chair on the floor, follows up with a backdrop onto the floor. We get an MJF cool looking powerbomb onto the knee, the Josh Alexander thing that I enjoy.
Yeah, but like
every
this
time.
one looked cool because he hit the knee out the backbreaker, but also it was like high enough that like he hit his neck off the mat. Too,
Yeah, it
so
looked
it's kind of
awesome.
like a double whammy.
Yeah, kangaroo kick successful. Pace picks up. Osprey starts hitting some running, flipping stuff as he does. And my next note just is standing sky twister. How?
Yeah,
People can't do that coming off like a, you know what I mean, 10 feet high. How? It doesn't make sense.
yeah, he just randomly
There's this
busted
thing
like a
called
standing
physics that exists
a standing corkscrew
that
moonsault.
says you can't do that.
Yeah, I don't.
That's insane.
It was
Anyways,
crazy.
another Sasuke attempt is caught by MJF and countered with a pile
That was
driver
cool.
on the floor.
Yeah, he like shifts
Really
into
cool.
a tombstone.
MJF yells at Osprey and tells him that anyone can flip. MJF attempts a moonsault to the floor, lands on his feet. Osprey hits a Spanish fly onto the floor. Awesome. Max,
Good for MJF for showing off again.
Absolutely. Max draped over the top rope. Osprey hits a huge shooting star to MJF's back.
I remember him busting that out
Looks
at
awesome.
Forbidden Door last year.
And again, we're talking about it. You're still completing that move with however high the ropes
because
are.
yeah, now MJF's
with
kind
way
of like
less time.
It's kind of like doing it standing because MJF's on the same level as
If you
where
were
he's jumping from.
It's another thing I don't think even some really athletic wrestlers can do that Osprey does easily.
Right, because like if you're just doing normal shooting star to a laying down opponent, you have all that time to like complete a big arcing rotation.
Exactly.
Right?
But he had no time and he does it clean as anything.
Clean as a sheet.
MJF counters with a nasty crossroads.
That
really,
yeah.
looked
Or
really good.
I like him calling it the double cross.
Yeah. Osprey counters. That is him. Osprey counters into a cutter, then hits an Os cutter for 2, then another off the top, but MJF gets a foot on the ropes. MJF with a sudden, nasty-looking pile driver, and from multiple angles, it looks like Osprey's head bounces. Like, I don't know how.
It looked like he just straight took it.
Every angle was like, yeah, his head hits the ground. Yep, his head hits the ground on that angle too. I don't know.
It was nasty.
Looked awesome. MJF rolling elbow absolutely crumples Osprey. We get a sudden stormbreaker for a 2 count.
A really fast one, yeah.
Yeah, MJF collapses on the apron, in which helps him avoid another Os cutter. We get a Panama Sunrise to Osprey on the apron, and Osprey barely beats the 10 count.
That
here.
looked awesome.
It did. MJF teases a hidden blade, but Osprey collapses, rolls out of the ring. Heat Seeker avoided by Osprey. Super kick, Os cutter on the apron. Hidden blade off the apron. Just accidentally destroys a camera operator. He took that like a champ.
I forgot about that.
MJF grabs the belt while Osprey is worried about the camera guy. MJF belt shot behind the ref's back for a near fall. Immediate MJF brainbuster for another. Ref takes a bump when MJF is sort of accidentally sent into him. MJF bites Osprey's head, teases a tiger driver. Osprey hesitates on the reversal, teasing his own, and that allows MJF to hit a low blow. MJF has a foreign object because the ring's gone, right?
Yeah, some weird like taped up brass knucks looking thing.
But a man in black hops on the apron and drops MJF. As Jack predicted, it's
exactly as I said.
Daniel Garcia.
Exactly as I said.
And he got a pretty nice reaction here, to be honest.
Yeah.
So good for him. MJF takes the time to yell at Garcia, and that means he turns around right into a hidden blade. Osprey looks psychotic, hits a really high Tiger Driver the moment arrives.
Him. Yeah,
right?
Tiger Driver 91, drops him on his neck.
Really high. Ref comes to at just the right time, makes the count. Will Osprey wins. Almost 26 minutes. This was awesome.
This was great. A worthy follow-up to the hour-long.
Which do you like better? I love this match.
I really, really liked it.
I think I like this better. Sometimes
I don't
an hour's
know.
too much.
I almost lean towards the other one because it's impressive to do an hour-long match
It
that's
is.
really good and like on TV as well.
And to pull off the timing so perfectly like they
Yeah.
did.
But this one, like, it just built to a perfect crescendo. If you
I
want to say
agree.
the ladder match ended anticlimactically, this one's like perfect build up to the finish. So I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I think it was
I
definitely
loved
better
it.
than the last match. Meltzer gave it a 5-star.
I
I wouldn't, obviously.
went under that.
But I still really, really enjoyed it. I thought like the storytelling was great and Osprey, looking sensed,
And-
hitting the Tiger Driver at the end.
And I only point this out because I feel like there's people out there that still don't get it. MJF yet again hanging with the best wrestlers in the world, right?
MJF
This guy's
is one of the
he's
best.
not just a talker, he's not just a whatever, he is it. He's
Yeah.
the full package, right?
And I honestly don't know how people would still be doubting that in
And
this day and age.
awesome wrestling with classic heel tactics, right? And Osprey never misses. His offense is just crisp and effortless. And like we said, he does standing moves that normal people can't do off the top rope. The use of Garcia allows the match not to last an hour, right? I think that's a smart play.
And to
Protect MJF a bit.
give MJF another feud to go off of while
Correct.
or Osprey defends the title.
And hopefully elevate Garcia through that feud, right? So best match of the show, I went 4.5 stars.
I would agree. I think this was really strong and maybe one of the best of the year. But another one in Osprey's.
I put it on my list.
Another one in Osprey's portfolio this year, for sure.
So basically, my list now I've decided consists of matches that I think are worth mentioning again. Like, even if I know it's not the match of the year, it's a match that I think deserves to be mentioned again when we talk
And
about
it's
stuff, right?
half taken up by Osprey.
It is like that's your wrestler of the year. We're now in September, right?
Yeah.
So basically, so a fantastic match. If you are looking to cherry pick this show, this is one you go see.
I'd also watch the Gauntlet.
Agree.
For sure.
There's 3 matches I would say you
This-
should go see.
This
on
Gauntlet,
this show.
last one.
TBS Championship, Mercedes Moné with Camille, obviously, the Brick House, taking on Britt Baker, who's a dentist, did you know? Moné arrives in a carriage full of corgis being pulled by humans, which sounds crazy out of context, but I think that is what happened. I know how people feel about this match, and I'm a little confused.
Yeah, I didn't hate it.
I
Okay,
quite liked it. We'll
Meltzer
get
gave
there.
it 2.5.
I know. I'm at odds with the world on this one. I will say
I won't staunchly defend it, but like I thought it was solid.
the crowd following the match these two had to follow.
Maybe
The
that's
crowd
part of it,
energy
but,
was
like,
not great, and they were not into this match. But I got, anyways. I'll talk about the match, and we'll get there. I liked it more than almost everybody, it seems. And
I
I've
totally
not
agree.
been like a super Moné booster, right?
That's true.
So, anyways,
You like Hater Living Guts or something?
apparently, even though I like her, I criticize her a lot. It's this weird dynamic I've got with her right now. I really like her, yet I'm very critical of her.
I don't know about that.
It's weird. Rope running and Moné dropkick early. Baker goes for lockjaw. Moné ends up on Camille's shoulders on the floor for some reason. I didn't quite understand how that was helpful, but anyways, it happened. Another lockjaw attempt is countered. Both bridge up. Baker's distracted by Camille, and Baker takes a kick to the head. Moné drops Baker back first on the top turnbuckle. Looked good. And I think this was the sort of impetus because then she starts targeting the back, right, for the rest of the match, I
Right.
think. Britt selling her back and neck commentary remind us that she was off with back problems. So Moné starts, and maybe that's why I like it more because, I enjoy that story
That's
almost
true.
always, right? Like, be smart and dissect somebody. And if they have, like, a wound you can hit, you hit it all
Which
day.
was the first Osprey MJF.
And if
match,
you're
too.
good enough, you do it in a variety of ways. I'm happy with it because it's just logical. The crowd is pretty dead several minutes into this. And I said, to be fair, this is a tough spot for this match, right? Britt ripcord elbow slows down Moné, but her back gives out on a neckbreaker attempt. 3 amigos by Moné, avalanche body slam from Moné I thought looked okay. Then a powerbomb for 2. Cutter by Baker finally stops the Moné run. Ripcord elbow, neckbreaker, and a sling blade by Baker. Implant buster, as we always call it, by Baker for 2.
that's what it was.
And she gets her glove out. Jack comments that being a... This is funny, but kind of mean. Jack comments that being a dentist in England should make Baker a heel. Do with that what you will, everybody. I thought that was really funny. Moné gets the glove as Tony reminds us that she is not a dentist. So there's no way she could apply this hold.
Yeah, it was when she faced like Sheeta or something.
So good.
She was trying to do
She's not a dentist.
She can't do it as effectively.
That's correct. Baker with an air raid crash for 2. Baker gets her glove back. Monet counters another air raid, but Baker then counters the moneymaker. Monet ends up hitting a backstabber out of this group of counters. Both up top, Baker reverses an avalanche power slam in midair. Camille pulls Monet's foot under the rope. Baker's distracted by Camille. Monet grabs the belt. Ref takes the belt as Baker super kicks Camille. Then Eddie Guerrero's her. Explain that for me.
The
and
chair,
gets her thrown out.
The chair and like
acted like
down. Yeah.
Camille did something to her but didn't. And then a Monet, right? Not Monet, whatever. Even waves at her as she's kind of lying on the mat, right? So that was kind of cool. Baker with the Panama Sunrise for a near fall. They're not together anymore. How dare she? Britt goes for the lockjaw. Monet gets to the ropes, but Britt rolls to the center. So Monet bites her hand. Seems like a pretty logical escape.
I feel
that
like
others should be doing.
Unless like Baker's really reefing on the jaw too much, like still.
But she's a dentist. She knows how to apply it, Jack.
That's why most people can't bite on it.
That's right. Baker shoved into the ropes, hit with the moneymaker, and it's suddenly over after 17 minutes.
Retire that move.
So
retire like the Tiger Driver. Retire it.
This match was not well received. I
thought it was solid.
I thought the pace wasn't fast to start, but that's because Monet is deliberately attacking Baker's back, right? So I'm fine with that. I like this more than most people. Monet is a really good deliberate heel. The story made sense, so I don't have an issue. I went, okay, so you said what were the... Meltzer went
2.5 for Meltzer,
over.
4.41 for cage match.
But 2.25 basically. So I went 3 3/4. I liked
crazy.
it a lot.
I
don't know,
like
man.
3.5. Like I thought it was good, but I didn't overly love it.
I don't know what's wrong with me, but I thought it was a good match.
I thought it was good. I just didn't like. Don't think I'll feel strongly about it.
And that's a rating before I saw anyone else's. I'm not being my contrary self and going
I thought it was a good match, but probably not one I'll talk about at the end of the year.
No, I don't think it made that. Although the women's, I don't get a ton of, because they don't have as many matches for me to see, basically. Okay, next we go into one that surprised me in its duration, and that was the coffin match.
I heard it did get cut for time.
It felt like it, right? Perry and Darby Allin. So Darby dives onto Perry as he's holding up the title on the floor during his entrance. We get chair shots to Perry. Darby bites Perry's face. Missile drop kick to Perry in a chair on the floor. Darby sets up the coffin vertically on the floor, but Jack Perry moves. Allin dives into the casket. It looked pretty, just obviously as he would, just full speed ahead, no attempt to protect himself. Perry drops Allin on the coffin, then takes him into the ring to chop him. Scapegoat bag of broken glass, and the crowd is in on the joke, so they immediately start singing Cry Me a River, which I thought was very well played by them. Powerbomb countered, Perry's backdropped onto the glass. Skateboard stomp to Perry's back. Darby shoved off the top to the floor. Perry takes over. He tapes Darby's hands together now, and it's a cool little spot where there's blood on the camera lens, which I thought looked kind of cool.
That was cool.
We get a coffin drop to Perry on the floor. They fight up the ramp. Allin gets powerbombed on the ramp. Perry takes Darby's belt and now ties his ankles together. So wrist taped, ankles bound. Perry throws Allin off the stage and through a table, grabs a body bag. And again, this is all happening in like 7 or 8 minutes at this point. Grabs the body bag and the coffin, puts Darby in the bag, drags him to the coffin, puts him inside. Darby gets one last chance where he kind of sits up with his head poking out of the bag, but Perry hits a running knee to him, closes the lid, and it's over. 10 minutes.
10 minutes, 37 seconds.
Bucks come out to pour gasoline on the coffin, and Uncle Sting comes to make the save, as we heard he was going to come. He no-sells for a bit, as he does, and then hits a Scorpion Death Drop before helping Allin out of the coffin. So 2 top tag teams can't stop the Bucks earlier in the show, but one 65-year-old man, no problem.
That's how Sting always bitches
that
out
is
heel
the
factions.
Calculus, right?
Yeah, heel factions are weak.
That's right.
Against Sting.
Sting very strong.
Sting is the kryptonite to all heel factions.
That's right. A lot shorter than I expected. I felt like Darby had at least one more rally coming, but if you're saying it cut short, that's probably where we're at.
Yeah, Meltzer gave it 2 3/4, and it's got 6.27 for cage match.
I'm slightly over. I still went 3 2/5. I thought they were 3 1/4. Sorry.
3. Yeah, I give it 3
I thought they worked
Not
hard.
3 1/2, sorry, 3 1/4. Yeah, they did as much as they could
a lot of
with
stuff
what they
in
had.
10 minutes.
So yeah,
but again, I was surprised. It's a very convincing win for Perry, right? But we've always said Darby's one of those guys that losses don't really hurt him, and Perry needs this momentum.
Yeah, he's a good underdog, anyways.
And so it doesn't tarnish Darby at all.
Helps out Perry, yeah.
Yeah, especially it's like Darby's signature match, and Perry beat him, et cetera, et cetera.
Darby never loses these matches, then he loses one in 10 minutes.
Right.
It's kind of funny.
Then we get to the main event. My God, I love this match so much. It's Swerve Strickland defending against Bryan Danielson. It's title versus career. The opening segment, the package for Danielson where he's meditating. I don't know if you noticed this, but it was like, first, so he's meditating on a beach or whatever, and then it's, I think we're meant to see what's flashing through his mind, right? The first half is his wrestling highlights from like ROH and whatever they can show. The second half is his family. And then I think it ends with him saying something along the lines of, I will always choose you. But it's a little ambiguous as to which one he would choose. And I think that comes to play in this match. And that pushes that story into like there, next level for me.
For sure.
Right? It makes a little moment in this match a little later on, like super amazing to me. So anyways, we'll get there.
Big final countdown entrance is awesome. And the crowd like fully into that.
And then an amazing atmosphere for Swerve as well with whatever the fancy jacket. I'm sure that's a reference to something I don't know.
Yeah, and he had like this like skin tight long sleeve on, and it had like a bunch of like
with their heads on,
bunch of the people's heads on spikes, like Hangman and Joe,
all the people he's beaten.
And it said like 8th world champion, I think tag champions on there, like a bunch of accolades.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So that was really cool.
And we noticed Danielson's jacket with the subtle like scales of a dragon.
It looked really cool though. It looked
well.
really cool, and the crowd is singing Final Countdown. Like,
yeah, it was the big fight feel, like huge big fight feel for this one. And I didn't take notes in the moment. I went back and found some stuff, so I don't have a ton of things. Just know there was a lot more going on than what I'm going to talk about. JR joins on commentary.
Which is all right. It's like a big
It's
match.
fine, yeah. The refs get taken out by a stray Danielson boot. Prince Nana gets the ring bell, and Swerve hits a Death Valley driver onto the bell, and Danielson... So he hits the back of his head on the bell, and then comes up with the front of his head bleeding.
That one's pretty hard.
We're going to have to
That's pretty hard to defend.
Yes. So as he's all bloody, a little bit later, Swerve is about to stomp Danielson's head like Danielson does to other people in the ring. But Swerve like stops, drags Danielson out of the ring right in front of his wife and kids.
Right in front of Bree and the kids, yeah.
And then stomps right in front of them and tells Birdie, like, you're getting your wish because daddy's coming home. So like just already we're getting, and like, like we hoped, Swerve is the heel.
He's really
Swerve's
healing
a
it up
psycho here.
Yeah.
And it's the best, right? Crazy, again, much later, I think. Avalanche Tiger suplex to Swerve. Again, you have to trust the guy. We've said this before, that's hitting. Like, your arms aren't available to you. You can't see what's coming. You're falling backwards. The only part of you that can hit the mat is your upper back and neck.
Right.
So you have to be like, I trust you implicitly.
For sure.
Looked awesome. Swerve then, Danielson with his neck problems. Swerve decides he's going for a vertebreaker and connects with it, right? Doctor comes in to check on Danielson.
Swerve's like chasing them off. Super
summarized. Swerve stomp 3 house calls with, before the third one, Danielson looking at his family and saying, I'm sorry. That's, I think, him saying, I'm sorry, I'm choosing wrestling because I should stay down after this, but I'm not going to. So I'm sorry because I might die here, right? That's next level stuff to me. Swerve somehow absorbs a Psycho knee, right? Like
yeah, that's what I noted when I was putting on my list. Like, just looking like a monster. Like, and some people are gonna be like, "Oh, the no sell," but like,
I think it's more than that. I think it's him, like, studying and being ready because he starts to move back first, so he absorbs some of it. He doesn't take the full brunt of it because he's a freaking genius.
He just eats it like it's, and it just makes him look like that unbeatable final boss in a video game run that Danielson's been on, right? Like,
and so that happens. Then it's in another house call. Then it's big pressure, and it's got to be over, but it's not.
Because apparently no one kicks out of that. I don't know if that Will Washington. I'm gonna need him on that. But
a crazy near fall.
Yeah.
Right. So now Adam Page comes down because he can't let Swerve have this. Although he should have probably come before that near fall. But anyways, he throws Nana down. Right. Security sort of descend on him. Swerve is distracted a little bit. Takes a Psycho knee for another great near fall here. Then more Psycho knees and a label lock. Swerve momentarily breaks the grip of the lock, but Danielson snaps his fingers a la Pete Dunne, reapplies it.
And kind of like a Rings of Saturn.
Yes. And Swerve has no choice. He has to tap out after.
Which they said he doesn't tap either.
Doesn't tap. 26 minutes. Danielson's your champion.
I would have taken longer, if anything.
I love this match.
I thought it was great. I would have taken more.
Yes. My favorite match on the show. Stakes were like, you can't have it higher. It's career. And the thing is, even though I'm like 75% sure Danielson's
I thought
winning,
there was a good chance
there's still a chance, right? So we might be seeing Danielson's last match, the near falls at the end for
Swerve
Swerve.
just going like mega villain again.
Oh man, and Danielson is a master storyteller in ring. He's it, man. Like that's as good as it gets. The presence of his family, the whole, even the opening vignette thing of him.
Yeah,
like,
usually I
all
feel like
that
having
making
family
sense.
ringside is just kind of like, but like I feel like they did it really well here.
The "I'm sorry, I'm choosing wrestling" basically moment was amazing to me. So I don't know, man. Swerve is an amazing heel to contrast just the ultimate babyface situation, right? The crowd favorite. He's got to retire. His neck's almost broken. I don't know. I love this match. It's going to be a match of the year candidate. It could possibly win for me. I don't know. I love this match. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was amazing. The in-ring stuff was on point, aside from bleeding from the front of your head.
Well, I'll forgive it.
But like everything was great. Like, and Swerve was just on point with his heel work, like bringing Danielson, being in front of his family, like just relentlessly murdering him with house calls towards the end, and like just doing everything he can to make this bigger and bigger. And Danielson just keeping in it. Honestly, I would have liked it to be longer, just to have more action in the middle, because I thought it got really, really great towards the end, and I thought the finish was perfectly done. But I honestly one of my main complaints would just be like, you could have given it another 10 or so.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I loved it. What were the ratings?
9.7 for cage match, and Meltzer went over. Meltzer broke his own scale again.
Of course. Well,
he did 5.25.
I just was watching something where they were complaining about his scale, and one of he thought was a witty comeback. The scale, like infinite is the possibility for stars. So that means a 5-star match is like terrible.
Yeah.
But anyways, I went 4.75 stars. I didn't quite go 5.
I agree.
But like, man,
5-star match to me is still Ospreay Omega.
If you want to say 5, like I'm not gonna fight with you, but
yeah,
incredible.
It was amazing. Yeah,
incredible.
And like a worthy main event for this kind of show.
Yep. Loved it. So overall, I didn't even put my thoughts on the show altogether, but all I know is there's a 4.75-star match for me, a 4.5, and a 4 out of 9 matches. That's pretty good. I know
I like most things delivered too, because like really the only one that I really didn't care for was probably the FCW match, because considering we both like the TBS one more than most people.
I thought the tag triple threat underdelivered a little bit considering who's in it. But the Casino Gauntlet's super fun. I'm gonna go A-. I don't
think
know.
the A-.
I was torn between B plus A-.
I left it feeling like it was a really strong show.
Me too. And just loving the main event so much on so many levels, right? Not just like the in-ring, but the whole story and everything else.
Like a good ending, right? Like,
yeah, just made that show. So I'll go A-. Great show. Felt like I did not waste my money. I may have to plunk down more money in a few days to watch All Out, so we'll see where that goes. Great show. Okay, so now we will go into more AEW, right? On their follow-up, we'll take a look at this past Wednesday night's AEW Dynamite. All right, so tell me about Dynamite from this week.
I think we start off like probably with my favorite part of the show, honestly, just based on my intrigue.
I was just gonna say most intriguing for sure.
We hear from Jon Moxley. He comes out after he's been gone for, they said, 2 months since Forbidden Door, which it's crazy that the Forbidden Door, it's been that, like, it doesn't feel like that long since we watched Swerve Ospreay kill it. You know what I mean? Like,
true.
It just like it doesn't feel that long to me, at least.
And I feel like we're always like, if anyone deserves time off, it's Mox. So I'm glad he got a bunch, right?
Big thing to note, he comes out not to Wild Thing, but to his Death Rider theme from New Japan.
You, like, in the moment watching with this kid, like, you notice from, like, the first note of what...
I can tell you from the intro.
Idea what was going on.
He's had 3 themes in AEW. He had his first one, then he went to Wild Thing, then he went...
Sometimes I wonder, do I like wrestling? Because if you get, like, I don't get...
You know what's funny is even though I don't watch New Japan, so I don't watch New Japan, so the only time we would have heard this was Forbidden Door when we were there.
You're a mutant.
That's the only time he's ever used it on AEW, I'm pretty sure.
You're me 2.0 if I had a memory and...
If you were born in this time.
Yeah, like, exactly. And access to everything, right? That's the difference.
That is part of it.
I only saw it when it was on TV in front of me.
Yeah, you're relying on
I couldn't find it anywhere else.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's coming out to his New Japan theme, which is interesting, right? Because like, even though he's been heel face like in the last year, he's used Wild Thing, right?
Yes.
Like it's already notable,
letting you know this is
the
different.
tone is
this is
it quite literally sets the tone, because he never uses his theme, and I like it. So it is like a darker theme. And I always said when Blackpool were doing heel and like they came into this Forbidden Door, this is a good theme for heel Moxley. Like
It is.
It works a lot better, and so it's kind of like
Gets your attention because this is not. Even though I don't know what the song is,
it's
I
different.
know it's not.
It's different,
use.
right? And I think that's the point, because like even Takeshita uses a different theme in the G1, I think.
Yeah.
So I think kind of depends.
Speaking of, I'll fantasy book that in a minute.
But yeah, so this has already piqued my interest for sure. Moxley said he was saying something, and he said it's about time he talked with Darby Allin for some reason.
Right.
Who wasn't there obviously. So Moxley's not going to be hard to find. And he said he was about to leave, but then he stopped. He said it's going to take some time for everybody to wrap their brains around this. And he told Shivani, this is not your company anymore.
Yeah.
So
another point of intrigue.
Zero clue where this is going, or why he's back for Darby of all people, why he's got his darker theme. But let me tell you, like, absolutely piqued my interest right off the bat.
Feels invasion-y type comment.
I saw someone say this is how you get
anymore.
Shane into AEW. And because him and Shafir come from WWE, that scares me to the core.
Yeah, we'll get to Shafir. So I also found this really intriguing, and then it's sort of like, okay, is this why Pac has moved into Blackpool?
I'm going to ignore the Shane talk.
And my fantasy booking is Mox is starting in like an invading faction, and he brings Takeshita back from the G1 as his like centerpiece of this. And then we were saying like Jeff Cobb would be amazing, right? And just have this. I know the invasion thing's been done, but doesn't mean you can't do it again and do it well. But I don't know if that's where it's going at all. But the whole like, this isn't your company anymore.
That makes me think of the Elite. I don't know how that makes sense, but like just because of what they've been doing, that makes me think like, or maybe you could argue this isn't your company anymore because the Elite have run roughshod. Now he's going against them, but like he seems like he's going heel to me. So then that doesn't clash well.
Yes, agreed.
You know?
Yeah, like it could be the like, I'm here to purge this company of the problem, which is them. But then
he very much does not seem like, especially if he's targeting for whatever reason Darby Allin.
But again,
which seems unrelated,
gets us talking about stuff like this. That's fun. So.
I love that as an angle because they executed very little, but what they did execute was executed well, and it leaves a lot of suspense and intrigue, which is what you want for weekly TV. Immediately, I'm super hooked. I'm personally super invested for next week because Moxley's my boy. I love him, and he comes back with a purpose here. So I'm super excited. Even with like what we see later, which is confusing to me.
Let's just talk about it now.
Okay,
because you mentioned her name.
We see him like backstage later with Marina Shafir, and I'm sure it'll come again.
I couldn't believe I knew it was Shafir.
We never liked her.
We have been very critical.
That makes me more confused and inherently more intrigued.
And if you want a deep FNS cut, Jack goes to me. That's play, right?
Yeah,
fight never made it, but play is here.
Yeah, and like, okay, as much as I hate her, she would fit Blackpool.
She would,
but so again, I don't understand why she's here.
There's no reason why she can't have gotten good in the time
Baszler's fantastic,
right? So
yeah, I'm just like that. Just adds more intrigue for me because I'm like, why her?
Right.
Like, and it's just odd.
It is.
And again, if he joins up with another ex-WWE person, I'm gonna start fearing for my life.
I don't even like that. That's in my head and in the universe now.
It wasn't even my idea. Honestly, if I hadn't seen a post about that, I never would have thought of that at all. But now it's in my head, and I just can't. I live in fear.
I like to think that Shane and Tony Khan just wanted it in the news cycle, and that was all that was. Shane's like, hey, man, my name hasn't been out there in forever, so let's get both of us.
I don't know.
Some publicity.
I don't know.
I'm hoping. Anyways, we'll find out.
But anyways, I thought this was a really cool way to start the show. Just
really short, but really like
super interested.
That's short in the sense of they leave you wanting more.
Could be. I'm hoping it's a really good angle because AEW does need to start doing that again.
They do. They need to get into some like deep stories for me.
On the surface, really nice because I'm very intrigued.
Yep.
Then we get a conglomeration interview, which is always a good follow up to anything. Briscoe's talking about how they weren't overly successful at All In.
Correct.
But, what do you say? Someone won something, and then Willow won her match.
Someone won something.
Oh, Hook, because he was there. I was thinking like who in the conglomeration won, and I was like, they didn't. But yeah, and Hook was like, oh, it's cool to be FTW champion. Mark Briscoe's yapping all over the place. Willow chose a street fight for her and Statlander, but it's not for the CMLL title.
Okay.
Even though she won an eliminator.
Bragging rights and momentum.
I'm saying their feud warrants a match, like
It
obviously, but then the eliminator kind of is stupid.
But I do feel like that feud should be hotter than it is from the way,
Absolutely.
from what they had to work with. It
Yeah.
should be better than this.
It should be better, but also I'm just like, because like Statlander won an eliminator, so the whole point is that she gets the title shot. Maybe they're saving that for a CMLL show.
Right.
Maybe they're saving them for that for a CMLL show, and they don't want to give away a title match on AEW's time.
Could be.
But I wish that was clarified. And
Same.
they're gonna whip ass, and there's an 8-man tag later on. Beautiful words from Briscoe as always, and it's always bringing me some joy for Dynamite. And yeah, I'm just kind of bothered by the Will Statlander situation. It should be a great match though.
I find it amusing that AEW has basically given a name to, like, we're throwing people together for a match, right? It's now the All Star or whatever.
Yeah. Although
it's fine.
It's really not an All Star match because
that's what I was thinking.
Only because
they're not All Stars.
No, they're not even All Stars. They're on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Jericho, yes. Roddy, yes. All the conglomeration, yes. Hook, yes. Bad Apple, Big Bill.
No,
they were there.
Yeah,
they didn't wrestle. So to me, that doesn't count. And I'm also just not thrilled of it being Jericho and his goons in a match all together at once.
Feels kind of random.
Then we get Big Tom versus Hangman Page. There's the killer apron DET from Hangman. Just Ishii standing on his head for a second.
Stayed on his head, like hooked his foot over the top rope, so he just stayed vertical with his head sitting on the apron. It was crazy.
Easy when you don't have a neck.
And commentary said that if he had a neck before, he doesn't now, or something like that.
Because he does not.
He does not.
Saito suplex from Ishii for 2.
Doomsday. Saito, please. He like how he waited for it too. It's a gimmick now. You have to do it every time, just like you do Brock Lock. It's the exact same. Irritates me.
Yeah, but
you're never gonna stop.
People like Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, but people. What are you saying? That people don't like Karrion Kross?
Oh, I know they do. They just shouldn't.
How dare you?
Big superplex from Ishii for 2. Ishii counter buckshot into his own Deadeye, which just looks pretty killer. It was more of a beach break, actually.
Yeah, but it looked awesome.
It still looked awesome, yeah. Lariat from Ishii. Hangman comes back with a discus lariat. Really killer Deadeye from Hangman as well. And a buckshot gets the win. Swerve comes out post-match. He said he should turn Page into a bloody mess right now after interfering at All In, but instead he feels sorry for him, which I thought was just a great way to piss off Hangman.
With pity, right? Like, yeah.
Because that's how you really get to Hangman.
I'm trying to make you mad, but you just feel bad for me. Like, that's...
Yeah. And like, so that's
There's not much where you can go after that, you know?
That'll make Hangman angrier.
Yes.
Or hangrier. Swerve said every title makes Page sound like a petulant child. And he may not have a title right now, but he'll always be a world champion, which is technically untrue and a stupid thing to say. And he said this will always be whose house? Swerve's house. And he said Hangman's failed. Hangman's just like, he's yelling already. He's just incensed. He told Swerve he's not a champion of anything. He's a piece of shit, and he broke into Page's home. He said that Swerve couldn't beat Page on his own because he got help from Nana the first time, then he got help from Cage and Nana the second time, and then draw the third time. So I mean, it is kind of valid, and it kind of keeps Page in the fight despite losing twice.
That's right, and it's smart to mention.
So that does make. I honestly forgot about the draw because that's what led to them and Joe in the 3-way, right? But I completely forgot about the draw. Not gonna lie, and I remember, because remember Page. That's when he started growing the mustache and he looked angry. He was like, "You couldn't beat me. You don't get 5 more minutes." And remember, he was like all insane and everything. I loved that. He said he wants to do it again, and so Swerve agrees to a steel cage match at All Out.
Yeah.
Which I was saying to you, normally that's like kind of a but AEW does cage matches better because they have a bit of room to like grab weapons, and also they tend to be gorier than the WWE ones. I feel like the last cage match I remember was Becky and Trish from like last year, and I find those boring.
And cage matches are supposed to be to keep people out, and so we've established that Hangman needs to keep people out.
Yeah, we've established that, and also there's no escape the cage rule,
which is I love that because I think that's stupid. You're in there, it's a pinfall or submission. Then
I didn't mind what was it? I think it was the Mox Omega match where they broke through the wall or whatever, or like even Blood and Guts this year. I don't mind if they get out, but like. Obviously, they're not supposed to, but like
not to win though.
Not to win, yeah.
You get out, you get out.
Yeah, if you actually break out, that's fine. But anyways, Swerve to win. They had the triple threat with Joe. Page quit because he didn't want Swerve to win the title that night. He said that he went to Hangman's house and saw Page's wife at a time when Page was about to become a father for the second time. He said that he became the best AEW has to offer, and it'll happen again. Swerve said Page is still focused on Swerve because he can't win the Owen, the Casino Gauntlet, and let his team have Blood and Guts due to his obsession with Swerve, which is all kind of true.
Yep.
Which led to Swerve said instead of burning shit to the ground, Page's career is going up in flames, which is another great dig.
I like that too.
He asked him what kind of man he'll be in that cage, and he mentioned his kids again. Page just leaves, like Hangman he's out without saying anything, just kind of like really taking the L there.
He did. Yeah,
which
they
is
let
interesting.
Swerve shine, which is kind of nice, right?
Yeah.
Wonder where the match goes, but yeah, the match itself. I'll talk about
Swerve
that
really got
first.
the upper hand there.
The match started out a bit strike heavy for me, which is a danger in current Ishii, right? But then I
Ishii and
thought
Suzuki, because remember there was the match where with Suzuki and Jericho, which I mentioned earlier, that was just
all
chops
strikes.
the match.
But once they were done striking, I thought this was a pretty great TV match.
Yeah, I thought
they
it
beat the hell out of each other.
It was a quality slugfest, and it kind of got into itself as we
I
wrapped
agree.
it up.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it by the end. And then, like, I have zero issue with running back Swerve Hangman as we all
I'm
expected.
saying it's one of those feuds that's just gonna. It's like I think it already kind of is, but it's going to be one of those cornerstone
like a
feuds
legacy feud or whatever.
for not only them but for the company.
Yes.
Regardless of how long AEW lasts, I feel like this is one of those this is one of the feuds.
And as I expected, they've recognized, and I agree that this feud is big enough to not need a title with it, right?
I was thinking that what would MJF's like B feud be? I can't even think of it.
I don't know if he's had it currently. Like it was should have been probably Cole.
Should have been Cole, or maybe even like Cody if he stuck around longer.
Yeah, got sidetracked.
But yeah, I was just trying to think of one for him.
And I think like I don't know. This is kind of my half-baked thoughts here, but it's this week has really shown, I think, how adaptable and what a pro Swerve is because
he just snapped back from mega heel.
So he's recently been a babyface. Then he had to lean heel against Danielson in the family-loving, career-ending.
He went all out at All In.
Then he has to re-enter a feud with a super mega heel, and not everyone can do that.
And also, he has to be the babyface justifying a home invasion.
And then that's the thing.
But then he kind of like wasn't here.
As soon as he started mentioning going to Paige's house and seeing his family, he went back into that menacing psycho Swerve.
But it's like
I love so much.
I don't know who to cheer for because in theory, we've always said this, even though we love him. Swerve should not be the babyface in this feud. No, it really doesn't make sense.
If we laid out like the bullet points of the history of this feud, it's like
Swerve. We started out gunning for Hangman's top spot, then it became he invaded his home, hung him in a match, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I thought the match was great. Yeah. I love the post match. Hangman just like he's so good at playing like the crazy obsessed lunatic really now. Like I do miss like anxious millennial cowboy Hangman, but he does this really well too. So I think he deserves some credit for his range as well. But like Swerve was great too, and he was a lot more edgy here to the point where like I was legitimately questioning like who should I be rooting for here?
I know.
Because lately it's been Swerve because Hangman's his obsession has kind of turned him heel, right? But now it's like with him, mentioning the kids again, and like it begs the question.
It was really like I was watching your wife come out of the house, like
it begs the question because like obviously Hangman's still this obsessed lunatic,
right?
Losing his mind over revenge, but now Swerve's kind of like egging him on with it.
He's talking about the actions of this obsessed person, right? Like,
I don't know what to think.
Still, they're both.
Like it's still a great feud.
And the match is going to be awesome. And
the lines are blurred, I feel like, with the heel face
which I don't hate.
No, it's confusing for sure.
And it adds a huge match for All Out, right?
Absolutely.
Like already I'm like, yep, I need to watch this show.
Deserving of the main event spot, honestly, because
I don't think they'll do it, but I get what you're saying.
I feel like I think they might. The cage match stipulation makes perfect sense based on the history, that which they literally outlined for us in case you don't know. So good job, Will Washington. And the feud doesn't need a long build because so much of the legwork's already been done.
Yes.
Between the world title program with Samoa Joe, Hangman trying to get in the Owen and the blood and guts and everything, and last year's actual rivalry, like so much of the legwork's been done that like you give us one more segment next week and we're off to the races.
Exactly.
And it's fine.
Exactly.
So it while I think we should do more still, it's perfect to do it all out because they can easily do it really well in the time frame necessary.
Absolutely.
So I like that.
There's enough of a foundation there.
Exactly. Yep. And I said like I can't wait for this. These guys, they're destined to go on forever, and it's going to be one of those feuds.
I hope so.
I feel like as long as AEW goes, this will be something we can always revisit.
This is Flair Steamboat.
It's a Flair Steamboat. It's I don't know, like
Taker Michaels,
Zayn, like I was thinking like Zayn and Owens. You always go back to like Gargano, Ciampa,
our favorite stuff like that. Yeah,
like the ones that you always go back to, right? Yeah. Like that kind of thing, or like
could have been DIY.
Even Hangman Omega, I feel like was something we could always look back DIY revival or something, or like I don't know. It's just gonna be one of those ones that like. It's gonna be synonymous, and so I'm super excited for that for sure.
Me too.
And one more thing I forgot to mention because I said it to you off air was the cage match also gives it a clear distinction from the last match,
right?
Because I feel like one thing you were saying, and I agree, was always how do they top Texas Death,
especially that specific one.
Right?
Even more so. Yes.
And so at least with this one, regardless, it's a clear distinction of because if they just do another no DQ match kind of thing, you could either just say that was awesome, but it was either too similar or just a lesser version. But like this one, it'll be clearly different, right?
Yeah, and even if it means it's not a ton of weapons and stuff, these guys
Yeah.
they just
do
need
whatever,
each
right?
other
For
and
sure.
be locked together.
Yeah.
We're good.
So I like that.
Me too.
Jamie Hayter versus Harley Cameron's up next, and I did note having Hayter return just on the pre-show was a crazy decision.
Agree, and I don't know if it's because we like her more than the average person. I don't
think she was decently big before she left, and like especially to do it like in her because it wasn't the first All In she was supposed to have her moment, right?
And she's been gone. They said like 15 months or something.
Yeah,
like a
it's
long
been well
time.
over a year.
So I agree.
So
This
I
should
thought
have been
that was a crazy idea.
I think so too.
I didn't know much from this. There's a botched springboard bulldog from Cameron, kind of like reminds me of the Bodog. From Bo Dallas.
Yeah.
Hayter countered anyways, but like she did botch like the push off the ropes. Uranagi backbreaker from Hayter was the killer. It ended up being a trifecta.
The last one she really seemed to like bend her back on it. I liked it.
Like in this kind of hammerlock short arm lariat kind of thing from Hayter for the win. She used to do Haterade, which was this Rainmaker.
Can't do that.
But that's exactly my theory.
You have to be right.
Because that's exactly what happened to Priest was he stopped using the Reckoning because
Cody said no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he started doing the South of Heaven. And I reminded you, they renamed Reckoning Hit the Lights for a while because of Reckoning and Retribution, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, can't have a reminder of that. Yeah, just a quick decisive win for Hayter. I'm glad to have her back. And I think like there's a lot of talent in this women's division, enough for them to have a hot division. So I hope
they just need to start doing better. But like more
start
stuff like
writing
May
it
and Storm,
better.
because that was really good.
Right.
But they just need to start getting on that level.
Glad to see Hayter back.
Yeah, I thought it was solid. It really wasn't much, but I thought also Hayter didn't get enough in. Like I feel like she should have just dominated.
I don't think that Cameron got a little more than I would have.
Yeah, especially because she sucks. Learning Tree and Roddy interviews up next. I just typed groan. Bill said something stupid. I think that Renee asked Jericho like how he felt after losing it. He was just like, and then he started waving. That almost made me chuckle.
Oh, all right. There you go, Jericho.
I don't
speak, just gesture, and you got a shot with Jack.
That's kind of what Okada does sometimes.
It is.
Honestly.
Less is more sometimes.
But I actually just refuse to laugh because I don't want this here. He said the one-way match was hard fought. Hook came out on top, and he's only champion because of the lessons Jericho taught him. You know, he made Hook a champion. He was a champion before all of it. I literally said
from him.
I literally said he's no better off than when he started. He would be the exact same, if not better, if none of this happened. The only difference between him is that he was temporarily blinded, and we've wasted like 4 months or something.
He was running on a treadmill. He did lots of stuff, but to end up in the same place.
Exactly. It's the Jericho treadmill.
That's right.
That's what we're calling it.
It's not a vortex or anything else.
It's a treadmill.
You're on it. And at best case, here's even more why it works. Best case scenario is you stay in the same spot. Worst case is like you stumble and slip and end up flying backwards, right? So yeah, it works really well.
That's our new thing. That's the Jericho treadmill.
I thought it was smart to let Bill speak first because he was super overseas. Yeah. So they're like, you get the
kinda
first.
Testing the waters.
And I said, I guess Jericho can take credit for that in real life, like he's taking credit for Hook and storyline sort of thing, right?
I guess. Roddy said it's a huge honor to be part of the Jericho Vortex for one night. No, it's not.
No.
Nope. The treadmill. He did make reference to the Cole Jericho feud last year, which was bad.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? The lights out match that sucked balls?
No.
It was like it ended when Cole was like punching with the chain and they stopped the match.
Oh, yeah.
Remember it kind of and Sabu was there for some reason.
Right. Of course. As
that one.
Yep.
Strong said he wanted to get O'Reilly away from Orange Cassidy, so he's like asking Jericho for advice. That was kind of funny to me, just more so for Roddy, just because like he's doing like this thing with O'Reilly right now. He's like they're friends, but Roddy's still beating the shit out of him in every match. And,
right.
Like it's weird, and he's like trying to get him away from the conglomeration. So I like that he's like, because Roddy's been doing like that heel character for most of the year with like from the Cole storyline or whatever. And so I think I just find it funny that him asking Jericho for advice just in like the heel kind of logic kind of way.
However, the flip side is that I'm nervous because that sets up like an angle that could keep Roddy in Jericho's, put him on the treadmill. If you
I don't think so. I think it was just more nervous. So like a reference, just like kind of like because O'Reilly's in the match. I feel like it's just kind of.
I hope so.
Jericho made reference to the Mimosa Mayhem match, which I just thought I just giggled at
$7,000 jacket or whatever it was.
I just giggled at that for being like a pandemic thing because what kind of a match right to throw them in like orange juice and champagne, like but it was funny and they'll pay the price. I said, why does my multi-man tag fight have to be ruined by Chris Jericho? Why?
Right.
But this was fine.
Yeah, I thought so too. I've said all I need to say.
Yeah. Then we hear from MJF. He's got some of the tape like around his neck and he's in all black and gray now.
Yes.
And he warned the fans to be quiet because he's on a good mood, kind of selling the Tiger Driver. He said he lost the championship, lost his ring. Now he has 2 herniated discs in his spine. He told the fans none of them had his back when he was defending the title, and so he's denouncing his citizenship.
I love like
I-
the extreme, right? I'm the ultimate patriot, love America more than
And
anyone, and now I'm out.
I love him framing the loss as like a slight against him from America. So now
Right.
he's like denouncing the character,
Right.
almost like a nod. Like obviously the character was just like this temporary thing we knew it would be.
Yes.
So I do think that's really funny.
It is.
He says he's announcing citizenship, and the only place that matters is Plainview, Long Island. He said he's sick of allowing the fans to live in lies. He said this company without him is a circus. And he said Ospreay cheated like a gutless little worm. He knows how talented Ospreay is, and one day Ospreay can come close to winning the biggest prize in the sport. He said when he does, MJF will cut him out at the knees with a smile on his face. He said now he's going to address the scum of the earth, and he called him a boy that he tried to help, but he didn't realize it. He threatened Garcia to show his face, and he end him or whatever. Garcia attacks from behind. He like chokes him with the guillotine choke, and MJF sold it solid like it's like he kind of went out. Right? Like, you can see him go limp. Garcia goes for like an avalanche pile driver. But security kind of stop him. MJF is able to escape in the midst of all this. And so yeah, they get in between them, and they're holding him back. Garcia cuts a promo. He's saying Max is looking for his ring, and he pawned it off to get a flight to England, which I think is kind of of a funny way of like getting him there. So I kind of like that. Like, cause it serves 2 purposes. And I was saying to you, I feel like they'll just make a new ring and have MJF win in December, like
Probably, yeah.
Because like they always just have
It's
him win
his.
it back, right?
Yeah.
It's like basically his thing. Because last year he beat Juice before.
He's the only one to win it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's won like he's beat like Hangman and like Jungle Boy and maybe like Starks was one.
Yeah.
Because remember it was like the match for it was when he was champion. He was world champion and he had the ring and he beat Starks.
Yes.
And then Starks got sucked in the Jericho treadmill.
Yes. And now he fell off and has been gonna
Now he's going to
portal
WWE.
down to NXT.
Yeah. And then Juice he beat last year. Anyways, that doesn't matter. Garcia said the ruining Max's life is his obsession and his fetish. That's okay. I wouldn't use that word. Garcia said he talked to Tony Khan and they're okay. I honestly forgot about this part. The MJF Garcia had all out. That worked.
Yeah.
Garcia said he won't feel fulfilled until it drops him on his head and breaks his neck. And if anyone on the planet cares, they'll have to watch and suffer with MJF.
Yeah. So I feel like nitpicking maybe a little bit nerd level, but I feel like MJF needs to really, really sell more the effects of the Tiger Driver.
I agree. I feel like you should sell a little more. Like it kind
to
of got
justify
sold.
Ospreay's trepidation.
It kind of got
even.
sold, but like then kind of got swept under the rug. I understand their position given that they want to get this feud going, so I kind of get it. And maybe you target this during the match.
But now that Garcia's attacked his neck too, like it should be. I don't know. He should almost not be available to wrestle in however many days.
I feel
it
like
is.
hopefully it'll be a content. I feel like MJF can sell it during the match, and I hope that's what happens.
I think that you have to.
And
or
I
I'm
feel
gonna
like
be
it's just
annoyed.
kind of a case of this pay-per-view double header. Is that like if we had more time before All Out, no doubt MJF would be gone this week. I feel like. Right?
I think so too.
So I feel like that might be part of it.
But I thought Garcia showed really good intensity in his words and actions. So I
thought he sounded really good.
I hope this angle helps him. But like, do you think he can actually get a win? Is it because MJF's debilitated and we can actually get Garcia a win?
I think so.
If not,
I feel like if Garcia doesn't win this feud, then what have we been doing? Because I feel like the whole point of this feud is to try and get Garcia up a level.
And I agree. And I don't think that just the rub of working with MJF is enough.
No, he needs to beat MJF.
I agree.
And I think this neck injury gives MJF enough leeway to take that loss. Because I think a clean win is great for Garcia, but the neck injury will also have MJF like not plummet his stock at all.
Yeah. And I think MJF should be like trying to not have this match instead of keep fighting. Like he's the heel and he should be trying to get out of
for sure
out of this, right? But end of the day, another interesting match.
I guess
for
Tony
All Out.
Khan's already booked it, but yeah, for
So
sure.
I'm-
It's another
I'm-
good feud.
Yeah, and I thought Garcia sounded good. It's just like if Garcia doesn't win this match, I don't know what it does, right? So
Agreed.
and maybe that's the point is that MJF is just too injured, and that's how Garcia to protect him. I hope so.
Yeah, I enjoy classic MJF, just like using this as an excuse to drop the American shtick.
Yeah, that was
That
funny.
was pretty
Yeah.
funny and very in line for him. And since they're tied, I would like another MJF Osprey match you talked about since they're kind of one apiece.
Yes.
If when Osprey's inevitably world champion, I feel like that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think so too.
Good look for Garcia, who's amped, trying to get MJF, and it's warranted. He sounded good in the promo, especially talking about like when he was saying like his mom had to watch him get wheeled out. I think he thought I thought that was really good.
Yes.
I hope this works out for him and makes him the star they've been trying to make. And he chucked the mic all the way to MJF on the ramp. That was
Oh,
pretty.
yeah, it was a nice toss. Very accurate
Mhm.
throw for sure.
Yeah. So this was good.
Yep.
We got a recap of Ricochet's debut, and he talked about it. That was fine. I hate his pants. The gloves are stupid.
I just said he's never going to be super engaging while speaking, so they kept it really short and
Yeah.
pre-recorded.
Again, why I didn't really need him here, because it's like, no offense, I don't think it's gonna be like Okada where he's gonna blow me away all of a sudden.
Character-wise, no,
Yeah.
for sure. But we're here to watch him wrestle. But
Yeah,
so
and
my
well,
thing
that
is,
I
can we
kinda
get him
know
a
he's capable
mouthpiece
of.
somehow? Like, who's a babyface mouthpiece though?
Alex,
Who?
the Lucha Bros guy.
Oh, no thanks. Like, I don't know. But anyways,
Where does he go?
I don't know. Into obscurity, more than likely.
Probably.
Yeah.
He'll be back to like the Spanish commentary, I think was what he was doing.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, because I think that's how he started. Hook and the Conglomeration versus Roddy and Learning Tree is up next.
Mm-hmm.
There's a kitchen sink knee from Kyle O'Reilly, followed by a basement dropkick from Cassidy to Keith. Big overhand chops in the corner to Briscoe from Bill. There's a mass brawl that broke out. Cassidy put his hands in his pockets to counter of a full Nelson from Jericho.
Right.
Briscoe hot take flurry. He went for a crane kick on Keith, but then Strong just grabbed him with a half Nelson backbreaker. So I thought it was kind of a nice go into that. O'Reilly gets Keith on a heel hook. Bill made the blind take, drops an elbow on him. A wicked black hole slam from Bill. That looked awesome.
It did.
Hook hot take flurry, T-bone suplex to Bill. Keith takes out Cassidy with an exploder suplex. Then Kyler slides in and gets caught flush with a knee from Keith. Like just
it looked
nailed
awesome.
In the jaw. Chair assist dive from Briscoe onto Bill to the outside. On the finish, Strong taps the red rum, but his foot was on the ropes, which you could excuse being not noticeable based on how Aubrey was. But then to ring the bell, she steps over Roddy's outstretched leg. That's what bothers me.
Yes.
Because
she had to work hard to not notice and then not trip over it.
You cannot notice it, but it's because Roddy kept his leg on and she stepped over it.
But I thought even the angle she was at, she should have still seen it.
She probably should have, but I'm saying that would at least be excusable somewhat.
So yeah, I was not a fan of the
and
finish.
Then Kingdom attack Hook after Roddy lifts the FTW title just to signal a feud.
Yeah. Thought it was a good enough multi-man match, but neither group really have much of interest going on for me. So I'm happy Keith got to showcase a little bit and didn't take a pinfall.
Yeah.
But that being said, I didn't like the finish of this. Not only like how Aubrey looks kind of silly, but I don't like Roddy taking a loss. Although I guess it's to get him involved with Hook here,
for
essentially.
A fake title.
So the refs missed a lot of things on All In, and the trend kind of continues here. And if you wanted to get to Roddy Hook, I would have done it differently, but the match itself was fine, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it was solid. I always enjoy a multi-man tag. I'm just not a fan of it largely being Jericho and his goons. Action was still good for the most part, and it was enjoyable enough, but not the people I want to see. Some good sequences, but the finish was not great. Aubrey looks dumb. And we're setting up Hook versus Roddy. Clearly, this is just a strange way to go about it.
Yes, I thought so too.
Like, could be a decent feud. I like to see. I mean, I don't feel like we've seen Roddy in a lot of no DQ matches, so I feel like that might be interesting.
And I love that they're still finding ways to use Roddy Strong because he's awesome in ring. And I'll watch him wrestle all the time.
Love Roddy Strong.
Yep.
Then we get Mercedes Moné with a party backstage. Private Party coming in saying you can't have a party without Private Party.
Her parties and celebrations have been pretty lame for like this super mega star. Yeah. Again, here I am criticizing Moné, nitpicker. Yeah, sorry.
So they took shots. Cassie's hitting on Moné, which is something.
Yeah, that was awkward.
Yeah, I guess it's supposed to be, but I don't know. Okada interrupted, and she asked him how to say bye, bitch, in Japanese, and she says sayonara, bitches.
Which kind of made Moné look dumb, because it's the one Japanese word that everybody knows.
I mean, I guess is that the funny part then?
Or was she wondering that if, like, bitch had a
and then
Japanese
Is it funny because she doesn't know that, and because then Okada just says bitch anyways?
Right, I guess.
Okada was funny, because like then they're doing the dance as they leave, and Okada's like saying it's a dream come true.
Right. So when this started, I was immediately like, I wonder if Private Party and Moné could work together. But then I'm like, oh, that's not the point of this. So never mind.
She's with the Elite for
and
sure.
We've said that she fits perfectly with the Elite.
They keep nodding to her. They just won't give me exactly what I want.
Because so far they're going with like the Okada's attracted to her.
Something like that,
right?
Like,
so that's her in. I don't know, but anyway, she would fit perfectly with them.
And already had interactions with basically all of them now, just not Scapegoat.
And even Camille, I think, as just like muscle for the.
Yeah, I feel like Moné fits perfectly with Elite, and then Camille is just like kind of the tag along.
Yeah,
which is fine.
I agree.
But yeah, I just get Private Party doing something. They've been wasted this year because I was again the first time in this year. I was really excited they were back. So I was like, oh shit, we haven't seen them in forever.
Yeah,
they're really cool. What happened since then?
And we're always like, hey, let's get some new fresh tag teams in rotation here.
Speaking of new tag teams, I just remember that the tag tournament for the vacant tag titles. That was disappointing.
Yes, it was.
I remember that. I think I have it mentioned somewhere in the
Jack
war
remembers.
stuff because like that tournament made me deeply sad.
It was
like
so underwhelming.
there were so many possibilities and like
we were very excited,
and it just ended up as Bucks
nothing.
FTR in a ladder match.
Yeah, exactly. Exhibit Q, Your Honor.
And also the Kingdom were in it.
Right.
So I rest my case.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fine. Monet and Private Party were solid. Okada makes everything better. I even chuckle at Monet with him.
Yep.
Okada's the best.
He's got that interesting charisma we enjoy.
Okada. I love Okada. Then we get Mariah May's championship celebration or not. She says her celebration's been postponed. She's not doing it in this town. She says she knows it's called Champagne, but should be renamed to Flatsdale Piss Poor Beer because they're in Champagne
Just
wherever.
like MJF style classic heel work here.
Yeah,
right?
I liked it.
Me too.
She disses the attractiveness of the female fans in the attendance. She says they desperately need some glamour, and that's everything that she is. And she'll take off her robe to show what she means, which I guess is supposed to be like a innuendo there.
Felt very Divas era because she's in like a silky robe, and then it's like almost lingerie underneath.
Yeah, and she's wearing a belt, the title belt. And so this is solid. I'm not sure when she's postponing celebration too, because it's not like they're going back to London anytime soon.
No.
But this is still good. She's great. But I'm willing to bet Storm resurfaces whenever she does the celebration.
Probably, which is a bit too bad because I kind of wanted that to be done and move on. But
I think it could be. It's just I'm not fully confident.
I enjoy May's work at this point, so yeah, I thought this was a good little segment.
Yeah. This is it was. Wait, did I say that? I don't even know.
I think so.
But yeah, sorry. I doubt the feud is permanently over. Although I'd be more than okay if it is.
Me too.
Because
I'm hoping it is.
I would go as far as say yeah.
Yeah.
Then we get a quick GOIV promo so it was from All In. It's like one of those last week things, but we didn't see, I guess, backstage. They were talking. The Bucks walk up to them, like, kind of congratulating him and that was a great debut or whatever. Because they did have a match on Collision, but like this is, I guess, their like proper debut. They're like, Matt's like, we both have to hate FTR. That's great. And, trying to like basically be chums with them so that take them out of the running.
Yep.
And they shut that down right away. That was a message for the whole division, and which is the division they sit top of, and they're coming for the tag titles. And James Drake speaks now, and he said, when you see the GYV come in, grit your teeth. And then the Bucks call them pricks after they walk away.
Yeah.
And then there was like a brief promo after, like that was separate, where they said their catchphrase again, but basically it was just they have a match on Rampage.
I really like this.
Really liked it.
I like that they come in with their eyes open, right? And the Bucks are trying to spin their BS, and they're like, no, man, like, we're not.
I'm glad they're sticking around because, like, I like them coming in for a one-off, but I'm glad they're, like, actually coming in, and it should be a shot up the arm for the tag division.
Exactly. So they're doing this no nonsense. We're here to wrestle and win titles, and we don't have time for your shenanigans. That's the tone I wanted them to come in with, right? And that they're smart enough to see the Bucks coming a mile away and, like, don't even let them get into their sales pitch sort of thing, right? They're really good, man. And like you said, I have the same. They could be the needed jolt this tag division. If they choose to write things the right way, like, these guys are awesome.
Yeah, GYV FTR would be a fantastic.
And Gibson, let him go back to cutting promos on his way to the ring, too. Because they were awesome.
Clearly, James Drake can talk decent, but I just remember in NXT, he, like, never did.
Yeah, and Gibson is just so, I don't know, I like his promos.
And I love James Drake.
You do.
Don't remember why.
Remember the UK chants when they would chant about he had his whole face on his ass?
I think that was that him or Gibson? I think they both did, but it might have been James
It was Drake. I'm almost positive.
I always remember when they caught my eye was the first UK takeover, and they
did a 450 and you were in.
He did a 450. It was really cool. I remember they did They did the Suicide Dive Doomsday.
Yeah,
which is always a crazy spot.
And they're awesome.
They were the first UK tag champs. That back when that was a thing. So yeah, I always remember them catching my eye, kind of like Takeshita,
right?
Or
we were in on the ground floor of a few people.
Hey, yeah, like GIV, Takeshita, Tyler Rust for me.
Unfortunately, Russ' elevator stopped at about the second floor, but we were in it on the first floor.
I was there, okay?
Yeah, we were on it. The elevator just didn't go.
One of my favorite catchphrases would probably be when Malcolm Bivens, or Stokely, I guess, used to say "Diamond in the Rust."
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Tyler Rust is on the FNS bingo card.
Hey, screw the creeds, all right? Diamond Mine OG right there.
Yes.
Diamond Mine.
Diamond Mine died when Tyler Rust left.
It did. I I forget about Dynamite, honestly. That's the only reason I remember it existed was
because of him.
because Dynamite basically still exists, but like
Yeah, it's
was
just
with Gable.
exactly.
Honestly, they should have just kept Dynamite. I remember we thought it was like some MMA thing, and it just turned out to be Roddy, Tyler Rust, and then like what was it, Hachiman?
Hachiman there. I was
Yeah.
gonna say Hechicero. That's not right.
Hechicero with Tyler Rust, yeah. Takeshita package soundbite that you noted was for Takeshita, it's main event time. I just wrote all caps, bring me back my boy. I've missed him so dearly. And then we see on Rampage that we have Takeshita, Leo Rush, Taurus, and Commander in a
which
in a
I will
four-way.
probably seek out.
I might have to, yeah. And I may find that just for my dear boy. I've missed Takeshita-san dearly.
And it's funny, I put, yes, for Takeshita, it is main event time. Heck yes. And they must have clipped that soundbite for a reason, right? Like, you don't select that combination of words, I don't think, unless you're going to do something about it. And I hope they are. And I'm glad they
they have to. And I feel like with how hot he's been between Forbidden Door and then now his G1 run being like widely
which
praised.
I'm glad they acknowledged because I wasn't sure they were going to.
Yeah. So I'm really happy about this. Everyone knows we literally just mentioned like Takeshi's a favorite here. Honestly, for me, like just because obviously his out of ring work is like his character's work's not like he's just like a basic heel, right?
For now.
But like based on his in ring work, he's probably one of my favorite wrestlers in the world right now.
He's amazing.
I would like I stand by him completely.
You want to drive 4 hours to Windsor to watch? I would gladly watch him work.
Maple Leaf Pro Demorge promotion has Takeshita versus Walking Weapon, which is crazy.
Would be awesome.
But like I would go to the end of the earth for Takeshita because he's amazing. So I'm glad he's back. I have missed him.
I was a bit annoyed that they're having him return on Rampage. However, the flip side is I'm going to go find it. And that's probably
I respect the genius of that. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I'm happy to have my boy back. I stand by Takeshita for
Absolutely.
Sure. Then we get Ricochet versus Fletcher, Kyle Fletcher. Not a fan of the gloves and long pants for Ricochet. It looks bad. No like.
Don't even remember. I know you didn't like the gloves.
Like
AJ Styles style.
Yeah. And Fletcher's entrance is cool. Just like doing the light pose in the tunnel. It's just
he's looking bigger and more jacked again.
Yeah, he's just got that star look. He's coming together for sure. And
yep.
Again, just Ozzy. That has me fearing for sure. Calf kick from Fletcher knocks Ricochet off the apron, then pretty sweet suicide dive. Like again, just like that good velocity we like Escobar. Yes. He always did it really good. Running boot from Fletcher sends Ricochet over the barricade, which also looked like it clocked him. Ricochet came back over off the barricade with a Meteora. Springboard clothesline in the ring from Ricochet. Northern Light suplex deadlift into the final cut from Ricochet, which is cool. Running shooting star from Ricochet for 2. Running calf kick against the ropes from Fletcher. Ricochet with a nice Death Valley driver for 2. He got the win with this sit out inverted DDT, which they called Vertigo, for the win. No 630.
Yeah, it's not a very Ricochet finisher, right?
Ospreay comes out the stage with the mic. He's about to talk, and Pac attacks him from behind.
Loved it.
As you'd normally do with just a Poison Rana on the ramp.
Sudden snap Poison Rana out of nowhere. I looked crazy. So cool.
He said, let this be a warning to Ospreay not to forget about the bastard. He welcomes Ricochet to AEW and says, get to the back of the line like everyone else because Ospreay is his.
Right.
He's got the title shot.
I loved Pac coming out there and doing what he did. I thought he sounded awesome too. And you are now like almost as big a Pac fan as I am. You're just like his promo style.
I just love his promos so much.
And even though they're all really similar, I never get tired of it because that's the criticism. But anyways, good competitive match. Ricochet showcases a lot of the stuff he can do. Don't love Fletcher taking losses, but he had a really good showing here too. And what was kind of a cold match but like
I don't know if it was just me, but I felt like it kind of underwhelmed a little for me.
It could have been better for sure. Maybe it was like more time, more build type situation.
Maybe Ricochet hasn't gone all out yet. Not
no pun intended.
Yeah, but like I kind of have been hoping for it since I feel like WWE diluted him a lot. So I was hoping like he would just bust out some crazy stuff, and maybe we're just waiting for that, or maybe I'm just off base. But I expected more from him of his talents, especially with like the finish too. It was kind of odd. And similarly, I love Fletcher, but I feel like he didn't showcase as much of his like moveset that we love. And maybe that's because he had to be on backpedal for Ricochet's first solo outing, because that's the point here. But I agree. I did wish he didn't have to eat the loss.
And I get not showing us all of Ricochet's stuff right away. Like you keep.
I would have liked some more crazy stuff though.
Yeah, I agree. It was a good TV match, but it could have been.
Yeah,
great.
And for a main event, a little lackluster to me.
Yep.
Regardless, it was solid. Fell a little short though. But the potential matches for Ricochet are tantalizing nonetheless. Everybody wants Ricochet Ospreay, of course, but I'm also feeling like Ricochet against Pac or even Sammy Guevara
Mhm.
if we're talking about the similar style. And
Ricochet
it's a
Pac
shame
would be
that Lucha Bros are leaving, because Phoenix would be another one I think would be
agreed.
awesome. Or not Commander, Vikingo if he comes back.
Vikingo if he's
I was thinking a really interesting one would be Ricochet versus Taurus, because Taurus is deceptively agile and Ricochet is deceptively strong.
yeah,
So,
and Taurus is my boy.
because like Ricochet's like, I think once he like body slammed to Ivar,
Yeah, oh,
and
he's a
like
strong dude.
I think maybe Bronson or something. Like
Yeah.
he's got some deceptive strength. So, and Taurus is kind of like a big guy, but he's on the opposite way. Like he's got some crazy
Mhm.
athleticism. So I'd love to see them kind of go at it. Then we had the Moxley bit, which we already kind of talked about, so I'll just skip over it.
Yep.
We go to the final segment, which is we'll hear from Bryan Danielson as world champion. And he said after trying and failing numerous times, Bryan Danielson is the AEW world champion. He spoke about how in front of 50,000 people and in front of his family who watched in the front row, he talked about his daughter, said it's the best day of her life, and said it might have been partially because of the Peppa Pig tour she took that day. But
Awesome.
like,
Love
yeah.
Peppa Pig.
He said when he knew it when he got backstage to see his peers, and he admitted that it was his favorite moment of his career.
And he's like choked up at this point, right? Like
Mhm.
pretty emotional.
Yeah, and he said, as for what's next, his deal expired on August 1st. And he does need next surgery sooner rather than later, and his family's ready for him to come home. He talked about how he's loved pro wrestling, and AEW makes pro wrestling better and makes his life better. And he said he won't retire as AEW World Champion. He said he'll fight for this title, and as soon as he loses the title, his career full time is over, which makes sense. He added that it won't be anytime soon because he has more heads to kick in. He said at All Out, if anyone wants a shot, come and get it. Cut to Jack Perry on a video on the Tron. He said nobody believed in him, so he had to create his own future. And when he came back, he punched Tony Khan, destroyed Kenny Omega, and buried Darby Allin in Wembley. He said the only time they've been in the ring together, he beat Bryan, which was Anarchy in the Arena, and he'll do it again. Perry claimed his future was to retire Danielson. And he said his future's right behind him. Perry attacks him from behind. He's choking him. He's beating him down. Then he hits his running into the face, and he poses with both belts. He's got his TNT title and the AEW title.
Yeah, I really like this. I thought Danielson, it was kind of like a little love letter to wrestling again, right? And just sort of, again, it's that choice. He is still kind of choosing wrestling, right? Because he's saying, I'm going to stay until I lose one more match. He's doing the Mickey James last rodeo. There's probably better examples of it.
Ric Flair.
Right.
I know you don't, but like they did do that well in WWE.
Yep.
Even though he didn't actually retire at all.
Right. Yes, that's the key part there. So, and then I thought Perry sounded really good as well. And it's just they're setting up a really strong heel face dynamic. Of course, Perry's not going to be the guy to retire Danielson, but now every Danielson match going forward has extra stakes on it, right? So that's cool.
I don't remember when I thought of this, but I'm thinking based on the heelish antics and this final last rodeo thingy, I could see a world where it's Moxley.
Yeah.
Given their history together, and like then Moxley doesn't have to have a long run, but he'd be a worthwhile guy. I do think you could give the rub to someone else, but I could easily envision a world where it's Moxley.
I could too. And Danielson would, that if he gets his choice, right? Somebody like that.
Or like, I feel like Eddie would be like, if Danielson wanted to put someone over, or like my personal wish
about Eddie's existence
would be Takeshita.
Actually. Yeah, of course.
I feel like Eddie will be out too long for that to happen, but Takeshita would be nice one. But I could see it being Moxley for sure. Solid point from Danielson. It feels like he's still winding things down despite the title win, which makes sense. I wouldn't be surprised if this doesn't go like past the end of the year, at least.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
Neck surgery, like I feel like it can't be crazy long.
True.
Perry was good too, and he's a bit of an underwhelming choice, but it does make sense in story. Like he's just taking a shot. He's beat Danielson before. He beat Darby, who's the number one contender.
Yep.
So like it kind of works.
Yeah, I liked it.
Could be a solid match.
Yeah, I think so too. Overall, good show.
I thought it was pretty good.
First hour moved really fast.
Good follow up for the show.
And
All In.
Mock stuff's intriguing. Hangman Ishii was good.
Him and Swerve.
I thought GYV was good. MJF Garcia was good. Ricochet Fletcher was fine. Good. Maybe underwhelming. And then the main event promo stuff. So I kind of liked some of the out of ring stuff a lot this week, which is nice because that's not always the case, right? So I went with the B show this week. I thought I was entertained. I thought it was good.
I agree. I think most of the in-ring stuff was solid. I think the opener was probably my favorite. But like a lot of good angles, like Moxley stuff, super interesting to me. Hangman Swerve, great.
Yep.
MJF Garcia, great. Danielson was great, and like Perry was good too there. GIV was cool. Cool to bring Takeshita back up. May was good. Monet's bit was fine. Like it was overall solid. So I'd also give it a B, almost a B plus.
That's exactly where I felt too. Good stuff. All right, so before you've got to get out of here, we'll see how far we get. We'll go at least get our trivia segment, which is next, that we'd like to call Off the Top of His Head. All right, so I think kind of a fun one this week. I found it's celebrities slash athletes, I guess famous athletes in wrestling matches. I don't know if we've done this before. It's from Jet Punk, if they want credit for creating this quiz, and it goes by year, starting in 1982, and then it gives you a hint of what their role, like actor, musician, sports person, whatever, and then a little bit. So I got 2 hints for you. Ready? So 1982, actor feuded with Jerry the King Lawler, including a fight on David Letterman.
Oh, I do know, but I forget his name.
I almost forgot too, because I actually did the quiz, and it took me a while to remember the guy's name.
I know,
but I got it. He's kind of a comedian.
Is something Downey?
No,
that's different.
That was later.
He
was involved. He's not on this list.
I just forget his name.
Andy Kaufman.
I knew it.
I knew you knew. All right, 1985, musician, acted as Wendy Richter's manager.
Cyndi Lauper.
Correct. All right, and you'll get a bunch of these, honestly. You'll get more than me, probably. 1985, actor, teamed with Hulk Hogan against Roddy Piper.
Mr. T.
Good. This one might be tough for you. 1995, American football player, defeated
Lawrence Taylor.
Okay, I didn't know if you knew LT or not.
Greatest WrestleMania main event
defeated Bam Bam in the main event of WrestleMania 11, right? 1997, basketball player, appeared in a number of WCW matches and joined the NWO.
Rodman?
Correct. Your brother has a Rodman shirt.
I wasn't sure if it was Rodman or...
Hold on. Don't say it. Yeah. 1998, basketball player, teamed with
Karl Malone. Yeah.
Karl Malone, teamed with Diamond Dallas Page against Hulk Hogan. And Rodman. 1997, mixed martial artist, former UFC champion, was a full-time wrestler in WWF from 97 to 99.
Shamrock?
Correct.
That counts?
He was very famous in MMA. Very much so.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
No, he was very famous. He and his brother, but Ken more so. 1998, boxer, special guest referee for Michaels Austin.
Mike Tyson. Well, he was like guest enforcer because the ref got taken in and then he counted the pin.
Oh, so they're not even right.
Not even right.
98, baseball player, received a tombstone pile driver from Kane at
Pete Rose.
Pete Rose is
He shows
correct.
up a lot.
98, talk show host, teamed with Diamond Dallas Page against Hulk Hogan.
Jay Leno.
And Bischoff, correct. I didn't know this one. You'll get this one. 1999, actor, awarded the box office championship belt, beat up Triple H.
Oh, Schwarzenegger?
Right, I didn't know this.
I have seen that, yeah.
So I think you might not know this one, but the clue I think will give it to you. 99, musicians, band performed live on WCW
Kiss?
Nitro. Okay.
Because Kiss Demon.
To introduce a new wrestler based on the band, yes. Yeah. 2000, actor, became WCW champion by pinning Bischoff.
Oh, was it Arquette?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Imagine that match. David Arquette versus Eric Bischoff.
It was
WCW 2000 is a monstrosity.
It was Arquette and
that I've gone back and watched.
DDP. It was Arquette and DDP against Bischoff and I think Jarrett.
Yeah.
And the stipulation was whoever gets the pin is champion.
Right.
Even though he's teaming with the champion.
So stupid.
Like DDP is the champion.
We really should go back and watch 99.
DDP's the champion. Arquette, his teammate, gets the pin, so he's the champion because and he got that's how he got the title off of his teammate.
99, 2000 WCW would create some really good content because you would be like appalled at the stupidity of so much stuff. 2001, actor entered the Rumble at number 5.
Oh, Drew Carey.
Correct. 2008, rapper served as master of ceremonies for a women's lumberjack match at Mania 24.
Flo Rida?
No. Another hint related to WWE Super.
Oh, Snoop Dogg?
Correct. 2008, boxer defeated Big Show.
Mayweather?
Correct. 2009, actor punched out Jericho.
Oh, Mickey Rourke?
Yeah, I wouldn't have remembered that one because that was the wrestler time, right?
Yeah.
2009, musician, performed live at Mania 25, including the entrance song for Miss WrestleMania Battle Royal.
Kid Rock.
Why do you know that?
Because I know there's a WrestleMania Kid Rock concert in existence.
Gross. Reality TV star, teamed with Morrison and Trish Stratus in a 6-person tag.
Snooki.
Mania 27, Snooki is correct. 4 more. 2015, teamed with Neville against King Barrett.
Oh, Stephen Amell.
Correct.
And Stardust.
And Stardust at SummerSlam.
Okay.
16, basketball player, participated in Andre the Giant.
Shaq.
Good.
That was my first Mania.
2017, musician purchased the Natural Wrestling Alliance after being president of TNA.
Corgan.
Yes.
Like, I mean, I guess
He's
like-
famous.
Yeah, but
Smashing
but I
Pumpkins
mean,
is
like, it's
super
not like
famous.
it appeared on anything.
No.
So it's like that's just like I thought it was like stuff where they appear on television.
I'm sure he appeared on TV.
I guess, but like it's just odd.
Guaranteed. Last one, 2018. Mixed martial artist joined WWE full time after making sporadic appearances.
Marina Shafir.
Nope.
Ronda Rousey.
Correct. Ronda Rousey is correct. Very good. You dominate. I thought that was kind of fun,
Yeah.
right? I liked it. Okay. Well, that's going to wrap up our trivia segment, and Jack has a bit of time, so we'll quickly get through whatever we can. The rest of the stuff we watched, anything notable, it's high spots and rest holds. All right, so we'll start with Raw. Do you have anything you wanted to talk about for Raw? You can
Probably not anything that you wouldn't mention. It was just more so the triple threat stuff.
Okay, so yeah, you can contribute when we get there. So, few notables I had, not everything by any means. So it's not a thorough recap of any of these shows, really. Most of NXT, but Judgment Day start the show. I just noted they have a really cool entrance. I really liked the way they came out, but I will say this to nitpick. Balor, after turning on Priest for becoming the leader of a theoretically leaderless group, is sure being presented as the leader of this leaderless group. Like, he's the one out in front. He's the one entering the ring last. It's clearly his group, at least from their presentation here. So I thought that was interesting. Anyways, they basically come out and revel in their beatdown of the Terror Twins to end last week's show, and Liv blames Rhea for being selfish and egotistical. Dominic says that Liv helps him do things he's never done, like beat his deadbeat dad. And with Liv's support, he's entering the Intercontinental #1 Contenders Tournament, and he's going to win the whole thing. Interrupted by said father with LWO. Eventually,
he did, right? He wasn't in the 3-ways?
No, he wasn't. There's Babyface stands tall. Nice to see Dragon Lee back on TV, but I don't know. LWO just don't feel like a serious anything, right? Unfortunately.
I don't know why it's still there.
We do get that match, so it's LWO, Ray taking on Judgment Day. And my only thing, man, is Del Toro and Wild are so good that if they were ever taken seriously along with the tag division,
I never hated them in NXT. Like,
they're really
back
good.
in the day.
And now they've been together so long, they have like cool double team stuff, and they just work really well together. So they did that spot where they launch Wild off the ropes up to the ramp, right? And the finish comes when Ray goes up top. Balor distracts the referee. Ray jumps off the top, only to have Liv sort of pull Dominic out of the way. Dom then catches Ray with the Mahi Straw cradle and wins after 14 minutes. I liked the match mostly because of Wild and what's his new name, Del Toro. And Dom gets another pinfall over his dad that he can talk about, so that gives him fuel, right? And now the fact is, with Liv, he's beaten his father twice, and he couldn't do it at all with Rhea. So that kind of helps there.
Yeah, it kind of furthers the angle.
And then afterwards, of course, the Terror Twins have to stand tall. They save Ray from further beatdown, hit their finishes on McDonough and Carlito because they're there to just take that all day. Unfortunately, right? As Balor pulls Liv and Dom to safety. So you get the pecking order right there of Judgment Day, right? Balor saves Liv and Dom because he's the leader. They're the next tier. And then
I think McDonough, Carlito.
Right. And then the other two. So it's all laid out for you in that segment. Yeah. New Day are still teasing some issues. So like you mentioned earlier, Woods changed his gear to black without consulting Kofi. And then they're sort of talking about, I don't know if passive aggressively is the right term, but they're like, you know, we're mature and communicate just like how you communicated about why you tagged Jones and not me. And he's like, yeah, like how I communicated that he was closer and that's why I tagged him, and how you communicated that you're wearing this other gear and stuff, right? So, because Woods isn't happy that when Kofi was the face in peril, he tagged in Jones, right?
And like, he doesn't want to replace Big E, which I also agree with.
So Kofi justifies it by and so Woods says something under his breath about he's seen the footage, right? Like, so then you sort of save the possibility of this for me, of what could happen.
Yeah, I saw some video guy had a theory that Odyssey Jones is the one to turn heel,
which would make sense because New Day, that's their thing, is like they stay together, and even though I sort of find them stale and whatever, I don't think separating them is going to help my...
No, and I also kind of like that they're just the ones that stay together.
Right, and so that, I never even thought of it, makes total sense that Jones is the one using them to elevate himself and then turn on them.
And he's causing issues with them, and then he's gonna
Right.
just
That's probably best case scenario.
hopefully doesn't join the Final Testament. That doesn't need to happen.
No, that does not need to happen. They don't need another big guy that doesn't do much.
I
Although
just
he's
don't-
looked better, I will say.
I just don't think anyone needs to go into that group.
That too. Damage Control beat PFC as they've been referred. They kind of toggle back and forth between the two, to be honest with you. So they're disproving this whole like new faction gets you a win, because I have that theory on NXT this week, because their new faction does get a win. Sane hit an insane elbow off the top, Stark onto Stark, while Sky hit a moonsault onto Baszler on the floor. About 8 minutes. Kind of unspectacular match. Did you watch the Uncle Howdy segment? I really liked it.
No, I didn't catch it.
So I really liked it because he used vocabulary and tone like Bray, but it was focused and clear and understandable what he was saying with a target of Gable, right? So my thing was always like, Bray was so cryptic and whatever. I don't even know. There's nothing there. So this was
That was
him.
a lot of House of Black promos too.
Yes, same. This was basically saying Gable's a fraud because like he's built his family off of intimidation and control, and that his group is blasphemous and they're not a family,
And
right?
he like cast aside the people who weren't good enough.
And it's going to be not a reckoning but a purge. So it kind of, I really liked it actually, and they are going to have the main event. We'll see how I feel about that in a bit. I was telling you, I don't know if you watched it, Drew McIntyre was back to crushing Punk with the truth.
I have also not seen that.
So he says basically like, oh, Punk's going to come out here and talk about himself for 10 minutes, and then he's going to talk about how hot wrestling is, even though he was gone for 8 years while the rest of us were here every day busting our butts. He says the fans have chosen nostalgia over the warrior who has always been there, which I thought was cool.
Especially with him carrying in the pandemic, that's a good way to put it.
And then he says Punk is afraid of him and can only attack him from behind. And then Punk attacks him from behind. Again, the WWE, like hashtag heels are always right lately. This is like the heels are right era.
That's crazy that they just like actually
like every
straight up
heel.
did that.
And there's another one surprisingly that I agree with coming up, heels. It's kind of like, it's not heel logic where because heel logic to me is like, I can see why that.
But they're not right.
But it's just
still.
like you're objectively right
Yeah.
at this point, right? So Punk attacks him from behind. Drew drops him on the announce table, then escapes over the barricade as Punk, the babyface, again, is attacking security people, right? So there's another, it's like heels are right, faces attack security, because that'll happen more on this show too. Drew is so good, and we didn't have to listen to Punk at all. So, and I'm like, yeah, at
least he didn't speak.
The baby face that attacks from behind and attacks security guards. Like that's what Punk's cultivating right now. Jey Uso won the first triple threat, right? Over Cross and Kofi.
But the first one, I don't know.
And it was largely unspectacular. And at this point, I just assume Jey Uso wins every match except really important ones. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, of course he's winning this.
Which has me concerned.
It was spear splashed across. Uso wins. Fine. So this is the other one. Dawn and Fire cut a promo about being the champions while Cargill and Belair get all the attention. Again, they're right. Like it's like they don't exist, and we see Belair and Cargill all the time, right? So another example of heels being right,
which
I thought.
Doesn't bode well for the match, which is today.
It does not bode well, I imagine.
Oh, I guess that show started already.
It has. Reed and Strowman, right? They battled to a no contest. During the match, I told you, Reed hit a suicide dive through the second and third ropes. And it was like a forearm. It looked good.
I swear I saw that in NXT. He might have done that, but like Joe did it back in the day.
So it ended up, they started brawling all over the place after the no contest. And then it finished with a really cool spot with Reed jumping off like concrete riser and Tsunami splashing Strowman, who was on top of a vehicle. And it looked pretty good. You're going to see that replayed a million times. Yeah. So we had another babyface taking out security, right? In this one as well. So interesting. And then commentary, I thought was a nice touch. They later tell us that while Braun needed all that medical attention, Reed just walked away. So I really hope that they pull the trigger. Reed has to beat Braun.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I'd be concerned if he didn't.
I agree. Because you've built this momentum. Because I went from like, yeah, Reed's kind of cool. And I know he's a decent big man, even though he's short. But like, now they're really creating him as like a monster.
They're putting
like
some
a remorseless
sure,
monster.
Yeah.
So hope they continue. Pete Dunne, you want to talk about it?
Well, I'm happy he won. But
it was a better triple threat match than the first one. But I told you I was about to text you how annoyed I was getting that Miz was dominating Pete Dunne and
Woods.
Who was the other one? Oh, Woods, right? So, but the action was better in this one. Dunne pulls the ref out to stop a Woods pinfall and then hits the bitter end to Miz for the win.
Yeah, but
you're still convinced Dunne's getting...
He's getting yeeted.
Yeah,
which
That's
is
my
not
fear
good.
too, man.
Well,
They're so close.
here's the thing, like, even if he wins, I don't think he beats Breaker. So
I know.
I mean, I'd rather him lose to Breaker,
Agree.
but
In a competitive match.
that would also be heel on heel. So again, I'm pretty sure Jay wins, which is just my worst nightmare. The fact that Uso will beat Dragunov and Dunn in the same year makes me sick.
Jey Uso's on, like, I could make a case that I could put him on a nominee for worst wrestler. Just, you know how I go with, here's the attention they get versus I hate the character and the gimmick and the yeets, and I don't think he's good as a singles.
I don't think he can go with like as a
As a
solo
tag
guy.
team,
At least
they're
not on a
awesome.
high level. Yeah, Usos are great,
But as one, not so much.
yeah,
Main event, I was pretty happy with. It's Uncle Howdy's first singles match, right? Since returning.
first match since returning. Cause he wasn't even in the
Right.
trios match.
So he's taken on Gable. He did that like dancing spot, like the Joker used to do.
Well,
that Bray
Bray
used to
did
do.
it at Mania 30 with Cena.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I got a little nervous because I think it's Graves is trying to tell us that's the body of Bo Dallas, but Howdy is something different. Like, no, don't do that stuff.
Just have Uncle Howdy's like an alter ego, because like,
Right.
isn't that what the Fiend was? And like,
And say like when he puts on the mask or whatever, but don't be like there's some sort of metaphysical, if that's the right word. Like, don't give me Saray. Remember when she would go through the thing and transform?
oh yeah, the schoolgirl.
So
thing.
don't give me that. Anyways,
Oh,
we got a
God.
nice angle slam by Gable onto what is now an unbreakable announce table because it does not break.
It's
again.
like it's either flimsy or it's like
Right.
it's a rock.
Exactly. Refs get taken out, mandible claw to Gable, Creeds come down, lights go out, other Wyatt Six are there to take them out. There's even one where like the Ivy Nile, I think, is on Rowan's back, like trying to choke him out, and he's still like kicking.
Yeah,
it looks
I
cool.
think I saw that.
So Sister Abigail from Howdy for the win after 14 minutes. I thought like for his first singles match, this was good. And I was gonna ask you, do you think it's possible they reverse engineered this whole thing about having Howdy debut against Gable because Gable's a ring general and will make because the thing is always like, can Howdy, like, what's the bell's gonna ring and then what, right? So was it like, all right, so let's
Maybe.
if we put him in with Gable, so let's
I feel like it's partially that, and they also had the ready-made thing of he was already
family.
turning on his family.
Right.
So I feel like it kind of worked, but I could see them reverse engineering it.
I was pretty happy with Uncle Howdy, how he looked here. And again, Gable's amazing, right? So pretty decent main event. NXT really quickly was the No Mercy Go Home show. Fatal Influence. So there's the new tag team, right? So it was them against Lash and Jakara Jackson. So at one point in a power spot, Lash is holding both, one on the back, one on the front, and does, when she puts their heads between the middle and top rope, it's called the double dribble, apparently. And she so if it's the two ropes, he bashes their head off the top and bottom. Okay. Anyways, Jackson overshot on a dive to the floor. Looked a bit scary for her, but she was fine. Crowd wasn't really into it. Lash intercepts Nyx on the floor, takes her out with a pump kick. Lash gets back in the ring, taken out by a JC Jane palm strike, and then a double Shining Wizard. Heels and win. Fatal Influence win about 10 minutes. This is where I was telling you, totally cromulent, which is now in the dictionary based off the Simpsons episode, meaning acceptable, right? Nothing really memorable. I guess you get a faction name and you win, but then Raw proved me wrong with that. I thought Jakara Jackson did a little bit more than usual, but she still seems kind of limited to me. Jensen attacks Cedric Alexander, and it interrupts an Ashante and Eddie Thorpe talking about how Thorpe isn't a DJ just to meet women. And it's like Ashante can't understand. And it kind of makes me laugh because he can't understand that you're not doing everything calculated to pick up women, right? So the fact that Thorpe's just like, no, man, I just do it for the music. He's just like,
he was genuinely confused.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of funny. Carmen Petrovic beat Izzy Dame. Dame was doing the powerhouse thing, hit a spine buster, applied a torture rack. Petrovic used speed and kicks. And I told you, she yells a lot while she's hitting her offense. Dame now does a mocking pinfall, at least here, with her foot on the opponent's chest, kind of like a la Jericho used to do.
Yeah.
Dame picks up Carmen for another power moon, but Petrovic counters with a sunset flip. So this is your 4-minute women's match. What can I say? Ren continues to annoy Dempsey. You were around for some of this. I can't remember exactly. She amuses me. She reminds Charles that he wouldn't be champion without her. And that's what's the dynamic now is they're annoyed and don't want her there, but she's right. She won the cup for them. So they're begrudgingly, she's in the group. So what do you do?
Tavion's still off in New Japan.
Right.
Not New Japan, Noah.
Right. So I kind of like the dynamic of the group. I have Jack laughs at Tony D and the family as two guys with beards show up and want to talk.
It's like stereotypical mobsters.
It was. Tony says no, and the bearded guys say that's really bad. So it's like, who are these guys and what do they want? I don't really care. And I don't
No.
know if I got an answer. I can't remember.
No, I don't know. That's something that matters.
You were here for this. I thought it was really good. Sarah Schreiber sits down with Jada Parker.
I don't remember how much I paid attention to.
So she talks about her soccer accolades, how she's not afraid of Roxanne Perez. She's confident, a superstar, et cetera, et cetera. Perez then shows up and makes the interviewer get out of the seat and takes her seat. Perez says that Parker's story, and I thought this was a nice comeback, right? Story sounds like Lola Vice's and Thea Hale's, and the results of all of those have been
that
the
was
same.
a great way to come back, yeah.
Jada says that she's going to slap the taste out of Roxanne's mouth, and then before Roxanne can get out like 2 words in response, she does slap the crap out of Roxanne here. And then Jada quickly acknowledges someone off camera, right? And says she can get some too. So I thought that might be Julia because they got to start working her.
Or
in.
if she's got still her wrist injury or whatever, it could be Vacker.
Right.
Yeah.
So I really like this. I think they both sounded good. And Roxanne made excellent points, right? By being like, you're like everybody else. Here's my accomplishments. Now I'm going to beat you. And then you don't.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like Parker kind of has it, whatever that means, right? It almost seems like she's turning babyface here. It
felt like it.
She's less than 100%. She's going into a match with a heel,
right?
Right. And she gets positive reactions from the crowd. I love her confidence. I don't think she wins here, but I hope she gets elevated through that match. No quarter catch crew lost to the family. Pretty good 6-person tag, honestly. Ren blind tags. I thought this was funny. So Bourne has control of Crucifino and brings him over to their corner. And then Ren blind tags herself in, which means like everything they've established on Crucifino's wiped out because what's her face? Rizzo has to come in, right? So I thought that was a nice touch. Tony, they tell us, is preoccupied by whatever's going on with the bearded guys. So no quarter catch crew. They target Stack's heavily braced knee. Crucifino gets a hot tag, shows good fire. I really do like his intensity. I tell you that all the time.
I've seen bits of him, yeah.
And I feel like it's easier to learn moves than it is to learn a style that's believable like that. So I don't think he's got like a giant move set, as we would say, but like you can learn that stuff, right? But having that everything looks intense is harder to do. So Rizzo with a Death Valley driver to Dempsey on the floor, Shatter Machine to Bourne, and the family wins after 11 minutes. I actually quite like this for a mixed tag match. Pete Dunne won't bitch and moan about Trick, and he's just going to figure it out instead. He said he'll beat Trick within an inch of his life next week, hopefully. But I don't know. Paige wants Ava to suspend him for putting his hands on refs last week so he doesn't have to defend his title. So that's kind of funny. Ava tells him to leave so she can think about what she's going to make a decision. And then, Paige takes a lot of phantom pins and now tries to avoid matches. Is it possible he's too cowardly a heel champion?
Yeah. It's really just making him look
I'm not sure how I feel about it.
I don't like it.
Like, I get what they're doing because Paige can play that role for sure.
They're going too much, though.
Almost, right? I'm a bit nervous. So Lee and Wentz have a pretty lengthy in-ring segment surrounded by security. Wes is cocky, calls Wentz jealous and in search of the NXT rub, says they're on different levels. Wentz admits that he ruined MSK and owns up to it, but he says he's grown up while Wes has become a single success and that Wes's success has motivated him. Wes was repetitive here. He reiterates that Wentz isn't on his level, and Wentz accuses Lee of being cold. Oh, that Wentz is basically like, oh, you're being super cold now, but you're the sensitive one that almost quit NXT 3 times, which I thought was pretty good stuff. Wentz talks about everything he did for Wes while Wes was hurt, and while Wentz couldn't support him on screen, because they're in different companies now, he did it behind the scenes, which I thought was probably true and a cool little detail to work in. Even if it's not true, it's easily believable, right?
Right.
Wes repeats again the levels thing, and Wentz says that Lee has always underestimated him. He'll make sure that Lee will fail. Lee uses TNA wrestler as an insult, and Wentz says that this TNA wrestler will beat Wes Lee. So while Lee was repetitive, I still think he did a pretty good job overall.
I thought his delivery on the TNA wrestler line was really good.
I agree. And this is peppered with real details or close to real details. So I think I always say that helps inconsistent talkers, right? If they don't have to act and they can talk about real things, they're going to sound more natural. And I think the match should be great. And I think this segment did actually help it a bit. So it was successful.
And I mean, I guess actually I won't mention Emergence just because if in case you watch it, but
I'm going to check it out. But spoilers won't bother me.
Okay. Because Wentz is X Division champion now.
Oh, nice.
So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Because he's saying your singles motivated me to... Okay.
It's worth noting.
Yeah, for sure. Kalani, I told you, sounded really bad and had a basic 4-minute match where she pinned Rosemary. So this is where I got my Rosemary in NXT.
There's your there's the partnership rub there,
But it was
right?
super short, and it was the
Oh
split-legged
my
moonsault
God!
to the
If
knees.
the Revive Decay with Wendy Chu,
No, that's the problem. So,
that's the Revive Decay. Yeah,
and that was what Kalani's pre-match was like. Who are you going to send out? Who's your whatever, whatever? And then she had to try and look like scared that it was Rosemary, and it
I
was
don't
really not
trust
good.
that just because Lonnie's
Not a good actor at this point. She's good in the ring for the time she's been around.
Because like again, I surprisingly enjoyed the Heatwave match.
Yeah, I did too. So Oro Mensah's talking about some of his father's advice with Lash and Jakara because they're feeling bad after losing their tag match. Lexis King interrupts and says that, Dar is the true daddy of Metaphor. What are you doing getting?
Oh my God, I forgot about Dar.
I know. And then Mensah says, it's Lexis King, right? So Pillman. Mensah says that's rich coming from someone lacking a father figure. And King immediately hits him and they start brawling. So I don't know.
That sounds like imagine Christian. I think Christian did go after Pillman Jr. earlier in
Yes,
the
I think
heel
so
run,
too.
but it just reminds me of that for sure.
Fraxium show up to interrupt Chase U and show a little bit of edge here because they've got that rematch coming up at No Mercy. So it was a lot of Ridge Holland being super grateful that he was going loner and now he's got this family. And obviously Hudson's sitting there looking kind of disappointed because he and Riley couldn't win. And then the other two Chase U did. So that's the story we're telling there. Malik Blade had a singles match because Jensen took out Anafe. So Blade is angry. I thought Blade showed really good fire at the beginning of the match.
That wasn't who we took it earlier, right? It was Cedric?
Yes, I think so.
That's what I thought it was.
And then it kind of things were awkward. It was only 3 minutes. I didn't think it looked very good. I don't think Jensen's finishing elbow drop is a great choice.
Wait, diving or?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just going to say, because didn't Thorpe have a standing elbow drop as a finisher?
He did.
Yeah.
So it seems out of sync at points to me. Didn't love it. Joe Coffey beat Javon Evans via shenanigans. Mark Coffey got involved, took a springboard cutter, allowing Coffey to hit the best of the bells. Again, I thought it was kind of average. Not my favorite Evans outing.
I was hoping Evans would be set up so he could get blasted in the corner because I like the Glasgow send off if he does it right. I love him just
cool.
booking him into the corner.
Yeah. Oba Femi. So basically the idea is he just goes and sits in the restaurant that Tony D frequents and intimidates the crap out of his presence, man. He's all looking incredible in this beautiful tailored suit and a nice gold watch. Femi,
I can't wait for him to get a little better in ring because then they're gonna love him.
I put that his presence dwarfs Tony D here. Femi, oh man, he says Tony in kind of something in this world you've created, you're this big powerful man, but I'm the ruler of NXT. I don't need your acceptance for anything. So I got nothing to prove to you. And I just his delivery and he has a natural accent and Tony's putting on this stupid fake one. And so it just made Tony look like
a
cartoon character against the real
what
man.
They wanted for Apollo Crews back when he was doing the Nigerian.
Yeah. Tony says that Femi's disrespected him by interrupting him multiple times in the past few weeks.
Oh, is that what the mobster guys were talking about? That Femi was in the restaurant?
Maybe. Oh, yeah, I guess so.
I guess.
That could be it. Tony will prove that Femi is mortal and that makes sense. And then he had to go deal with that. He's going to prove Femi is mortal at No Mercy. Femi just again, with his delivery goes, many have tried, none have been successful. You will be no different. And it's just I don't know. There's something about you just believe the confidence. He can just speak quietly and calmly.
He has every right to be.
Exactly. So I thought he was awesome here, and he blew Tony away with his confidence and his presence. And he's just, I don't know, he's really, really good. And I imagine he's got the rocket strapped to the back, as they say at this point.
I feel like they're just making sure he's ready. I can't imagine he's not going up.
Right. Only other thing was Hendry played a song live about Ethan Page sucking. And it showed him embarrassing pics of him working out in a duck or goose costume or something. So then the basic lyrics of this were, Ethan Page sucks and he should put on more clothes. So Page comes out to interrupt and the crowd is singing that over and over and they just get louder and louder. And it seems to bother Page a bit because it almost seems like he repeats the first few lines. He forgot where he was. So he just started from the beginning. But then I think he just kind of realizes they're not going to stop and they're just getting louder. So then he just powers through. And I thought he did a really good job. Ava then comes out and says, she's figured out what she wants to do. And since Paige is disrespected so many officials, guess what? They're going to have a special guest referee. The crowd already knows it's Trick Williams, and it is Trick Williams. So Paige tries to attack Hendry. Hendry, of course, ends up hitting the standing ovation, and Trick counts another phantom pinfall on your company's champion.
That's at least 3 on him.
Right. And then Pete Dunne is by the entrance saying Trick can consider himself lucky tonight, but he won't make it to NXT next Tuesday. So
no PLE payday for Pete Dunne? That's
kind of tying in both matches, I guess. The Hendry song was, I think, better than the last one, and the crowd clearly loved it, and was tough for Paige. He proved, I think it started out rough for him, but then he proved like, no, I'm a pro. Like I can get through, because I think a lot of people would not.
That would be a tough spot for sure. Especially if it's just like continuous.
Yeah. TNA felt like almost all matches. Bailey Swan was a really good 8-minute opener. Bailey won with a Spanish fly after Trent Seven neutralized AJ Francis. Hendry picked up a decisive win over Brian Myers to continue his momentum. Clothesline, follow-away slam, standing ovation. Santana beat Eddie Edwards with Spin the Block. I thought a pretty good 12-minute match. The crowd seems to be getting behind Santana.
What's Spin the Block again?
It's like ends in a clothesline. Discus clothesline.
Right, I remember you said he was using that.
And the System have gone from being like unbeatable to losing all the time right now, which I'm not a criticism, just an observation. Cardona's out for his match against PCO at Emergence. There's a surprise replacement. You can tell me who it is if you want.
I actually don't know.
So I don't know who it is either.
I know PCO wins.
And then
I haven't seen who it is.
We get the match by Elegance, which was a no DQ falls count anywhere, where the weapons are elegant. So like the trash can has like a boa around it. Her brass knucks are like bejeweled.
Right, the ones that got stolen.
When they set up a table on the outside, they take the time to put like a white tablecloth over top of it, which kind of made me laugh. I'm not gonna lie. Crowd was into it. It was kind of fun. Rosemary comes out. Hooray. Spears Ash. Masha comes out and Alicia. Masha hits a package pile driver to Grace. Spitfire come out to take out Alicia and Masha. So a lot of moving parts.
Is that why there's
here.
The multi-person tag at Emergence?
I guess so. Leads to a Grace muscle buster off the apron through a table with tablecloth, which looked pretty good for the win. And then show ended with a lengthy face-to-face with Nemeth and Alexander with Raywolt as the moderator. And I just don't find Nemeth that interesting.
I saw a bit of it. The intensity was decent.
Yeah. It was what you would expect, right?
Oh, okay. So I guess I can tell you. You know who showed up after the match?
Who?
JBL.
Why?
Because he cornered Nemeth in AAA when he lost the belt to Del Rio. And so after the match, he whispered something in his ear.
He's there to bully.
So, yeah.
Bullies be bullying.
Now it's like, that'll be a storyline. So you're welcome.
Awesome. And then I did watch some SmackDown highlights off the top of my head. No pun intended. Stealing your gimmick, brother. That is gimmick infringement. One thing was notable. I told you. Oh my God, Nia Jax's finisher on Michin. So it was the bonsai drop, and Michin was in a trash can and like crumpled it and looked impactful. And then Jax picks up half a table that had gotten broken earlier and like throws it on. And like I said, Michin has no idea that table's coming, right? To brace for impact or whatever. And leading into the finish, Tiffany Stratton comes running out because they're both down with her briefcase. And it's almost like the ref gave her the idea of like, do you want to cash it in? So there's a moment of like, and
because she's so, like, the theory is like she's doing it to help Jax, like he's always a distraction or something like that.
And Jax sort of notices, comes to as Stratton standing over with the case. So, and then but it's like, no, she hits Michin with it one more time and pulls Jax on to pin and retain. So I thought that was kind of cool. I don't remember what else I saw from SmackDown, but that was one notable thing I noticed. Anyways, I feel like I speed ran all that because you need to get out of here for your driving lesson and then work. So I think we're going to wrap up episode 215 right here. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate any sort of comments you can give us. Any feedback, as they say, helps us in the algorithm.
It does.
We will be back here for 216 next Saturday. And until then, everybody, take care.